Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be in the world. Welcome to tradertv.live. Another morning. We're coming into North American stock futures. Little change so far this morning. A little bit more negative in the last half an hour or so. It was basically flat when we first sat down this morning. Earnings on deck this morning once again, leading the market. We have Netflix to cover. Yeah, big miss on the subscriber number for Netflix. So it is in negative territory. Not only Netflix, but some of the other streaming stocks also being dragged down with that. Roku and a few others we'll talk about coming up here. Focus has shifted once again, kind of back to the reopening plays, travel stocks as well. They were positive initially, but coming back to the downside, increasing COVID cases once again. Back in focus in the background, right across the globe, we're seeing a resurgence once again in COVID cases. UAL had earnings yesterday. We talked about American out this morning with some guidance, so negativity surrounding a couple of the airlines once again today. We're going to look at Palantir shares, a little bit of a news headline on Palantir, and Giselle joining DraftKings. Is it news? We'll talk about it. It's Wednesday, April 21st, 2021. TraderTV.live starts now. Yeah, there we go. Look at North American markets. As I mentioned, a little more negative in the past half an hour or so. The NASDAQ once again leading to the downside, 0.4%. TSX futures here in Toronto basically flat. We're in positive territory. Brazil's open already, trading lower. Bitcoin back to the downside again this morning, kind of creeping back towards the lower end of this range now that it's trying to put in. Crude oil, yeah, big move down 2%. I saw Brent crude was down a full $1 from where it was trading yesterday, and gold in positive territory. To start things off, good morning, guys. It's Wednesday. It's going to be a busy day. We have Netflix, obviously, to get through, but we'll start things off with maybe a little, word on the market here as a whole. We're seeing a little more caution coming back in the past day or two. We saw the 10-year ticking higher yesterday, some growth stocks back in focus, but it feels a little more negative once again this morning.
Yeah, it's got that tinge to it, doesn't it? That, we're down like not that much. I mean, it's only 0.3, and we've seen this before. Where we're basically, 0.3 on the NASDAQ, 0.15 on the ES. But I feel like Netflix probably has a little bit to do with this. One of the FANG stocks gets beaten like this, and of course we'll get into this a little bit later with the guidance on the sub ads. Not exactly hitting that target, so it's probably leading the way to a little bit of concern. You saw United fall yesterday. You saw the just absolute capitulation in some of the weed names on 420, nonetheless, and you start to think about, okay, well, is this like the pullback coming in here? Are we going to get a healthy pullback to 4,000 on the ES? I mean, Bitcoin's already made a bit of a pullback as well, so will this actually extend to the broad market? Because it was an overwhelming feeling, and I saw this in print where, you looked at what the ES was down, you looked at what the actual major indexes were down, and then you had to look to see what some of those growth stocks, all the hot stocks everyone's paying attention to, most of the times for day traders, and we're getting crushed, and there was a bit of a disconnect, right? And so does Netflix coming down 9% change that? That's what I think is going to get decided something like today, whether Netflix can hold a bid, whether or not some of the bigger names can hold a bid, or whether they're going to actually be part of this pullback, Sean.
Yeah, just reading a bunch of people responding to some of the tweets that we had out there this morning. You can follow at TraderTV, Sean, and then we put a poll up about which altcoin. Looks like Cardano, my baby's right there. ADA, Doge is in there. I don't know if XRP is an altcoin, but I'll call it that. And then other, we have 16 different votes there. We also have our sticky note up. But like we mentioned today, a little bit of a slow day here. I'm already in this ATHE, Parkinson's. Obviously very, very important. But Brendan, you talked about the NASDAQ and just the market and what we're feeling like right now. Neil talked about a few things. It's earnings season, right? I mean, this is September. We've had drops. This is February, but we've had drops once earnings season's been around in the last little while. We've seen some of the tech names like a Microsoft or Facebook. I remember actually the last couple earnings. I don't think any of the big cap tech stocks, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Google last report was fantastic, and that moved that 2 or 3% up and hasn't really looked back. But after that, I mean, Apple, Facebook, a lot of these things now priced even more to perfection than maybe they were before. So you see the NASDAQ the last couple of days. I mean, this is an amazing run, man. 6,800 up to 14,000, the top. I mean, a little bit higher than that, but 14,000, that's a double there in a year. So the NASDAQ has doubled back in a year. You're seeing a lot of these stocks like a Square, like any name, you know, up 5x, 6, 7x. You're seeing Bitcoin, the same thing, from 6 or 7,000. It was 3,000. It's like last March, like Bitcoin was $3,000, $4,000. It's $60,000, hopefully, fingers crossed, very, very soon. 55,000 right now. So, I mean, a lot of assets have definitely matured and probably outgained what they're really worth. I mean, if you look at some of the price to earnings and things like that. So, you know, NASDAQ pullback, to say I don't expect it would be crazy. I mean, you get a pull, like I said, here's September, you get a pullback after into earnings. January, February, we pull back in right there. Then we get that correction that happens in late February. I mean, I guess it was, I guess mid-February, back down. And then now I expect, again, a little bit of a correction. I don't know if we go back to the 50 period, but that's always a number I'm looking at. So that's 13.3 on the NASDAQ. We're at 13.7 right now. So I think a couple percentage points back down. Wouldn't surprise me if we also test 12.8. Remember, I mean, these stocks, like I just mentioned there, price to perfection. You're already seeing some names come off. DraftKings, Palantir, some of the high flyers. I saw something today, ARK Investment. The ARK ETF is down 25, 6, 7%, depending on which one you're looking at, from their highs as well. So, you know, a lot of those names, you've seen Tesla come off from 980 down to 7 bills right now. I'm in ATHE, that's why we're watching it. We're long at 50, good trade so far. A couple percentage points in the money right there. And this is the Tesla high as well, you know, whoops. Oh yeah, that's right. It won't look good on this one. Let me just zoom in a little bit more here. The Tesla high, 9,9019. I thought we got to 980. Maybe that was before. Okay, but anyways, 901, 920, back down to 710. We actually touched 560. So Brendan, I mean, you know, you started the show there by saying, do we feel a little bit weak? I think yes. I mean, the market's had a hard time going up. We're going to have to find some more shorts today to put those on the board for you. But that's what I'm going to be doing, hunting some shorts and then seeing if there's any momentum to play some bounce trades long.
Yeah, I just saw somebody in the chat talking about damage control. Yes, definitely. When we get into these slower periods and consolidating in the overall market, less is definitely more. The less you lose during these periods will accelerate the win side when volatility comes back and movement comes back and we have bigger and better opportunities. Let's start things off. How dare we get to 8:38 without saying good morning to Miss V?
Good morning, Brendan, and hi, traders. Thank you for joining us today. I wish you a successful, profitable day, and please hit thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Let's get it started, Brendan.
Let's indeed jump into a few things here before we get to the open, guys, coming up in about 40 minutes now. We got lots to cover. We have the streaming stocks, as mentioned, to the downside this morning. Some of the travel names, reopening type plays to the downside again this morning. As far as individual names on the stronger side of things, where do we lean here when you see the futures coming off as they are right now? NASDAQ leading, as we said, coming up to 0.3% now. Is this all Netflix, or are there going to be individual names? I mean, Sean, you mentioned Cathie Wood there yesterday. I saw she was buying Palantir with both hands yesterday, 1 million shares in Palantir for
like what, like
ARK
this?
again.
Like just like punching yourself in the face with both hands. I mean, yeah, look, I like Palantir. I like some of those names. It's ARK, what is it, Q? There's a bunch of different ones there. I don't even know what they're on. I'll find out the right ones to call. I don't know what they are on our system. But yeah, Palantir has just been straight to the downside. I like Palantir. The thing is that what Cathie Wood is doing, obviously, is innovation. It's the future. It's trying to buy companies right now that are, it's almost like a SoftBank. Like it's almost like a venture capitalist. I mean, although they're public companies, but it's buying new names. She's given the list out there. Forget about the space ETF that she's doing. That's a little bit like, okay. They have Netflix in it, so that is going to get hit today as well. But yeah, to answer your question about what's happening here in the market and some of these names, of course she's buying these up. I mean, look at Palantir, the level that we're at right now. this is where I've been buying it, and not to say that I'm going to be right or Kathy's going to be right or whatever, but you're down to these levels now where I just think that if you like some stock for longer term trade, we're showing its cards right now. We're down to 21. We've already bounced up to 25, 26. Like that's a 20% move, right? If you can catch that top to bottom. Right now, 21 to 26. So I think there's opportunities there. You could fade in. It's just a matter of, honestly, we can look at any stock. We can look at AMD here on the NASDAQ. We can look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA, like here's a good example. Okay, let's just do NVIDIA now because I'm very comfortable with these levels. Like NVIDIA ripped to 650. Let me let this load so I can at least be right. Oh, look at that. Yes, I am right. 650 there on, the new chips, new everything, new technology, better for mining. They're more into the software as opposed to the hardware. They're trying to become a big, huge company here. And look what happens. The bottom 510, and then in about a week, like we go to 650. Like this is 520. I mean, a week, maybe it's 2 weeks, but 2 weeks from 520 to 650. That's a monster move in a monster name like NVIDIA. And then all of a sudden, what's changed? What's changed in NVIDIA's landscape? I don't know. And you go down from 650 down back to 600. And then now you're going to be picking up some levels. So if you like NVIDIA here, the question remains, do you let it drop to where it was April 1st, back down to 515, or do you step in right now at 600 because of this pullback? Like, what has changed with NVIDIA's name? What, if anything, I think it's gotten better, right? We're going to wait for earnings. They're going to come out. It's probably going to blow it out of the water, and then you'll see it come back up. And then again, the market will probably test lows again, and then not test lows, but start to head back, and you'll get a pullback. So look, a lot of these names, the names aren't broken. You asked about, are we going to trade individual names of the market? I don't think the names are broken. I just think the market is ahead right now of some of these high flyers. So we're going to have to adjust our portfolios and look for dips and then buy every strong stock. I'm not talking about buying space. I'm not talking about buying Clover. I'm not talking about buying any of these EV names. I'm looking at solid companies right now that you think have a chance to bloom in the next 2 to 3 years. A Square, a PayPal, an NVIDIA. I love AMD. That's why I like Palantir. These are the names that I'm looking to pick up on any dips. I don't know if some of these recent SPAC names are ever going to get going.
Yeah, there's a lot of SPACs that are, to be perfectly honest, questionable in terms of knowledge about their business. I want to get over to Ocugen just if I can very quickly here, because I got into this one. I mentioned in the chat there, was trying to roll over at 625 here. It was a couple of spikes. One was at 7 a.m. You guys, probably some of you know about that when these things pop at 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. In particular. This was at 8 o'clock. These are just the dark pools dumping in some late print, so there was no spike here. I did short into this move on volume, but once it spiked again through 635, it's showing some strength into that 667, not 66, that it got to at 8 o'clock. So Ocugen once again on the run. I do want to show you guys very quickly what happened the last couple of sessions. They got sold off all day yesterday. It has been dumping since it broke 7 last week. So I do expect, it gets to 670 to 7, likely another attempt for me, but a little bit closer to the open there. And obviously, we traded some Digital Ally in the afternoon show. I'm into the short side here. If you remember before, we were playing it in the $2 range. Now that things have sort of settled down, you are seeing the stock come off 13, 14%. I'm looking to play in that weakness.
All right, a little bit of a headline, guys, on not Salesforce, but Sonos teaming up with Salesforce. So they're trying to improve their digital experience when it comes to, I guess, their online platform and ordering experience. So Sonos announcing that they're going to use Salesforce for some of that. Not a huge, response or action here as far as the stock is concerned. Sonos, one that we kind of, grouped up with the stay-at-home type plays. They did have a pretty good quarter coming into the beginning of this year, but Sonos, guys, with Salesforce now.
Salesforce actually making some decent bumps there. But anyways, look, Sonos off the 50 period here, trying to get and hold above that 40. Just as a side note, Pinterest furthered their partnership in several European countries, including the UK, with Shopify. And wish it got the bounce here, as it's basically flat on the session. At least Sonos, for the time being, is trading up. However, we've traded 5,000 shares worth of volume. So take that with a grain of salt that it's up 2%. Essentially, that's really not a heck of a lot of buying going into the name. I would love to see if it can hold this 40, and maybe this news is going to give it that juice. But with that kind of volume pre-market, this is a wait and see until the open trade. And I did mention briefly Pinterest there, just to give you some color on this, that expansion on the partnership. Yeah, remember Pinterest got absolutely woodshedded a couple of sessions ago. It is trepid. It's trying to hold a very key level at about 70.65 here, and if this sort of somewhat news catalyst can't let it do that today, we did have a breakout at the end of the month here at that same price. If this news couldn't get it to do that today, expanding of the partnership with Shop, then you're going to have a possibly painful day through 70 even if we can't hold this level here on Pinterest. I like the chance that if we're going to get a rebound day, Pins is right at a level that I like, but you almost have to have a hard stop at 70 even.
Yeah, I like Pins, but all these names, Etsy, Pins, they're all kind of the same. Pinterest, they're all going to be beat down. We saw DraftKings, and I want to give a shout out here, and it's a shout out to Brendan, but it's more just Sonos, and Brendan, you covered it there, a recovery play. I remember this day, actually. I remember this day, and it was their earnings. It was a big day. I believe it was earnings anyways, November 18th, or some sort of a deal. They have a deal with IKEA. There's new deals with Apple and things like that with Sonos. But, I mean, this was a recovery play that I never actually even thought about. There's a lot of people rebuilding, remodeling their homes, looking to just stay at home, obviously, make entertainment units and systems like that, at-home theaters. So Sonos right now was a very, very undercover play into the reopen. And look at the numbers this thing's put up. It's just been an absolute beast to the high side. It's at that 50-period moving average that I like here. So to me, this is a buy. It's great with CRM. I mean, Salesforce is amazing at, well, you guys all know what they do anyways, the customer relations and management and data and things like that. This is not doing anything whatsoever to the stock. We only have 5,000 shares, so I'm not super excited about it looking at a chart, but yesterday a big drop from 42, like wow. And this is what I'm talking about. Like there's nothing wrong with this name. It's just, it's too hyped up. The value's too much right now for Sonos. So it comes all the way down to 39 and change and touches 39. So if we can get a 39 print today, I think probably Sonos is gonna be worth buying. It's better news than it was yesterday. So I'm a buyer here of Sonos, and I think you gotta wait for it to get at least a 39. We could even crack a bit lower, but the 50 period is right here. Any kind of movement to 36, 37 down in this cluster, I think is a definite buy for Sonos. And then you see what happens moving upside. I know the quality of the speakers, not the fantastic, but the price point and what you get from what I've heard apparently is fantastic. I don't have any Sonos speakers in my house. Do you, Brendan?
I do not, but I do know people who do, and they've kind of stated that they've come a long way. The quality has definitely improved for Sonos. We have a treat for everyone who's joining us this morning. The floor manager from the trading floor here in Toronto, Day Trade the World trading floor manager, Greg McEwen, has jumped up on stage here with us to start things off today. Greg, we appreciate your time, and thanks for doing this on short notice. I want to touch on a little bit about this overall market condition. As we said, yes, we've come a long way from the lows, but we're seeing volatility almost on a daily basis kind of decrease. Those individual, momentum style trades, the momentum style stocks kind of taking a backseat to some more traditional, slower moving stocks. How have traders kind of shifted their focus to, trade successfully in these different conditions? Because it's been a long time since we've had these.
Yeah, you know what, Brendan? I'm finding this to be a really interesting market. If you were just to come in and look at the S&P 500 at the end of the day, you're seeing plus or minus 50 beeps. So you're thinking, oh, not a lot happened today. But yesterday, for example, 420, of course the marijuana stock got a rally, right? I can tell you personally from a big loss I took yesterday, I was sitting here trying to get a long weed all day, and we saw a 7% move intraday, straight down right off the open. So I'm sure a lot of the viewers were into that. It was very, very painful for me. I got out of here in a hurry yesterday. But although if you look at the big indexes, there doesn't appear to be a lot happening. Under the surface, what you're seeing is a big rotation from growth to value, I believe.
And it's important for traders to be able to adapt to this. We've had this, very, very, plenty of opportunity, I guess is the way to say it, in this market for so long. on the momentum side. And then when you get these shifts, whether you want to look at the 10-year, interest rates rising, or whatever the reason may be, as traders, we have to be able to adapt and have to be able to shift our focus to what is working.
Absolutely. And you know what? We've had a great year. Yeah, last year was amazing. A lot of the guys have made their years already. So I'm sure there's a lot of viewers out there who are sitting on some big wins, whether it's crypto, whether in stocks. And it's important to be able to go into protect mode and rest on your laurels and not necessarily attack. That being said, we're traders. We do this every day. We're always looking for catalysts. Earnings season is coming, as I'm sure everyone knows. We had Netflix come out last night, but I don't know if it's in that much of a new range. I mean, yes, it came off a little bit. We're probably sitting around down 5%, but what we're really looking for in these markets are stocks that are hitting new ranges. Maybe in the last 3 months, it's hit a new high or a new low. And the last thing I want to do is look at a stock that's up or down big overnight, but it's just right back into the teeth of, I think you guys call it a barcode. You don't want to hit something that's just right back into the teeth of a barcode. You want to hit something in a new range.
And when it comes to a lack of volatility, earnings are coming. Obviously, we've had some of the banks. We had Netflix overnight. Where do we go beyond that? We're going to get a few weeks here where we do have reports, but is there going to be a catalyst for the overall market within those earnings reports, or is it something that's going to come maybe down the road?
You know what, Brendan, that's a great question, and I think that's what a lot of traders are asking themselves right now. The one thing that I will say is that growth is really, really getting killed under the surface right now. Like if you look at Palantir, I know you guys talk a lot about that stock on the show. I'm a shareholder. I really believe in it. But it has not been a good time for Palantir lately. I mean, IPO at 10, opened up to 40, went up to 40, happy days for everyone. And all of a sudden, we're sitting here and it looks like we're going to break through down 20 on the short side. So, and you look at Airbnb IPO, another recent IPO. We opened up at 145 and then we tested 125 and now we're only up to 170 off a high at 200. So, a lot of people as well are talking about the Biden infrastructure plan, $3 trillion. I don't even know if that's that much money anymore, but you might want to start at some of these more value-oriented stocks.
When it comes to outside of Netflix, what are the guys looking at today? One or two names that have kind of jumped off the page so far?
To be honest, Brendan, I kind of got dragged into the interview today. I know the market's slow, so you guys are dusting me off. But yeah, I've got to go back right now, do some more research, and figure out what we're getting into.
We'll let you get back to it. Greg McEwen, floor manager here at the Toronto head office for Day Trade the World. We appreciate it. There we go, guys. A little bit of look at what traders here are thinking, how they're kind of processing this shift away from the traditional kind of momentum style stocks into the more growth oriented value type stocks, as we said, slower moving type trades. So a very good look at how things are being approached here at Day Trade the World. Thanks once again to Greg for that. If you haven't done so, guys, make sure you take a second, sign up for the watch list. Absolutely free. We send it out to you every single morning before we come on at 8:30. We touch on every symbol, I should say, that is moving around in the pre-market. We're going to touch on Netflix first here. Big subscriber number miss in this report for Netflix. Otherwise, though, this, the per share number, the revenue, kind of in line with expectations, guys.
Yeah, I think that's why you're not really breaking the bottom end of the range here. We had talked about this. We got a question in our Q&A about the ranges playing Netflix, and I think it was like 540, 560 break, and then we were sort of saying, you look at the range and 500 seems like if it holds that level, all is going to be good. And then when you miss your own guidance, that's what basically happened here when it came to the sub ads. Now that's why you got that absolute flush. And we're on the live show, like right at the end of the show. Right at 4 o'clock, of course, you got that report out, and it was barely a bounce at 5. I mean, it was like the most minute bounce at 5 that took you right back into 508. So, it's not even a blip on the 1 minute chart because it almost didn't exist. You'd have to put up a tick chart to be able to see that for a brief second, 500 had held, it tried to pop back into the 510 range, and then absolutely floored itself down to 480. The good news, I would say, if there's going to be any good news, is if you do look to where it recovered to, at least initially, after that 480 flush, right to 498. So try to get back to 500 and failed. Once again, psychological number, and we're holding above that for now. So I look at that 498, and you can say 500. I'll look at 498. Basically, because you have the pre-market low, and you have that recovery price that it tried to get past in this aftermarket, and that's going to be that watermark here. If we hold this, and maybe you can have one of those like rebounds, and because Netflix was the fang that failed, it's probably going to have a bit of a sentiment feel to the market today. Like if it holds above that level and gives any kind of a retracement or a gap fill, I think we're likely going to be due for a bit of an up day. Am I going to be short through 498? Yeah, that would likely be the plan here. I don't like trading Netflix in the pre-market per se, but if we get that off of the open and it's going to be a sell day, well, you've got to make sure that you're going with the market. The trend is overall going to be your friend most of the time, anyways. Certainly you can counter trend trade. We do it all the time, and you just have to make sure you pick your spots very carefully.
This just goes back to what we were talking about before with some of these higher quality names and what's been happening to them. Nothing, to answer your question, since my own question, since August. Like we were 469 bottom in August. Then in September, basically the first, well, you can even go here, whatever. In October, we go to 572. And basically that range is held this whole way through. Talk about a gift yesterday. We saw it live on the show. We had the earnings there. Join us at 3:15 every single day. We knew Netflix was going to come right at 4, and it did. They delivered on that promise anyways. And we just saw it come right down to 480. That was a gift like crazy. We're down into this area here. Like if you can imagine that right now Netflix is basically at the same price that we were at back in July. So you've lost almost 8 months, 10 months, I guess we can go all the way down here, but, of nothing, flat earnings, no dividend, no nothing. If you were selling the tops, great. Buying the bottoms, fantastic. But if you're a shareholder here on Netflix, I can't see any way that you're not a little disappointed at least in this number. It hasn't really, the 8% sucks, but we're only right back into this range again. So I think it's a big disappointment for holders. And I feel like if Netflix didn't produce this time, what will they do next time? And it's just Disney's coming. There's Fubo TV. There's Tubi. There's a whole bunch of different options there. Hulu, YouTube even has a TV channel with different things. And I know Netflix has their own content, but again, the price keeps going up. And does the quality of the shows continue to go up? I don't know. I haven't really watched. I'm watching that something. What is it called? It's about the university. It's a basketball team. Anyways, they're going through. I'll find it out. Anyway, it doesn't matter. There's a few good shows on there. Anyways, I know my wife likes a few of them. But for me, look, it just remains the same. Netflix struggled on this report. I wrote down on the sticky note there that 200 period is 503.50. So we can see that. That's going to come into play at some point as well. That just bounced off there. And then we do have the low of 486. I like that low down here. 480 is the ultimate, but I kind of like 485, 486 for a bid. So if Neil takes that short, 498, you may run into some problems at 485. But yeah, for me, it's Last Chance U, I think it's called.
Okay, I know that.
Yeah, Last Chance U. There was a football one, and now it's about a basketball team in East LA with Joe Hampton, who I remember watching him he went to Oak Hill as a college recruit and then blew out his knee. Long story short, good show there. We will get to ATHE in a minute, but just to let you guys know, I am taking out profits here on ATHE, which of course is Alternity, and we talked about them with the Parkinson, hopefully Parkinson drug here that's helping with that. So we bought 148. We bought 150 first because we love key levels. It dipped down. We were able to get that, and now we're out at 158. I'm also going to take the high of 160. So far, so good on that front.
All right, guys, upgrades and downgrades. Yeah, Netflix on here. It's worth noting there are multiple analyst moves on this, including a few price target decreases. So you can have it on either side of the board today. Definitely down in the pre-market. Morgan Stanley on here. Berenberg with a price target increase on this, 91 for Morgan Stanley. Pinnacle, First Energy. Nothing terribly exciting over here. I did notice early on that Oracle was lower. P&G, the former bankrupt energy company on there. And rocket companies, guys. We were talking about Lemonade was pretty negative yesterday.
Yeah, I think we just noticed that. I think that's Procter & Gamble, unless we just have the wrong symbol there. But yeah, Procter came out with a report yesterday, so wouldn't be surprised, or 2 days ago, wouldn't be surprised if they were on the downgrade.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I was actually having a quick look at. I mean, we talked about Morgan Stanley in the past, and I mean, you can pick any names of any of those banks that the recent earnings, and then not necessarily the upshoot that you might have expected, and might be a place to defend if we get this, sort of bounce in the 10-year, and then the growth continues weekly. But Oracle in particular is getting a little bit. It's a little bit top heavy. It hasn't really had too much of a pullback, and if we actually start to see, a widespread fall, I think overall, more than these just 1%. It's like have some bleed go into some of the bigger names. I mean, I'm an Oracle shareholder, and it just kind of feels like if you're not at least considering taking profit in this range, and then thinking you might want to spread the money around in places where you can buy. It's had a nice appreciation. Sometimes that means your allocation percent-wise in your portfolio is a little bit bigger than it was before. This one sort of stuck out when I was watching these. I don't want it breaking that 78 level necessarily today. I think about selling a little bit of Oracle if it does get there. And it kind of feels like today could be that day.
Great. Let's have a look at the overall market. Arun is in the building today. Everyone's very excited because Arun is here. Arun will be joining us at 3:15, so make sure you do come back as well in the afternoon. The last hour of the day going to be Arun and Sean and myself as always. Let's check in with Arun and get a look at the futures.
All right, guys, we're continuing pretty much where we left off yesterday, right? Yeah, Netflix came out at the end of the day, kind of dropped the market after market between 4 and 4:15. You did have the futures fall off a little bit, but at the same time, we're still trading within the bounds that we kind of declared yesterday. Keep in mind, the level I gave you guys yesterday, 41.50, that held off well for anyone that was able to take that trade. That was a huge winner. Now we're going to keep on using that same level. I'm going to move that one a little bit up, so we're going to move it to 41.55 just to account for a little bit of slippage. So that level is still in play, 41.55 on the top end. If we go on down, you see 41.10 was the bottom yesterday. But given how many times we've bounced and given the amount of activity we have from the past, I'm going to move the level all the way down to 4100. So 4100 on the bottom, 41.55 on the top. We are sitting at 41.20, which kind of puts us dead center, not dead center, but it puts us in the middle. And there's not a whole lot to do. You see us, we're going back and forth. Not a whole lot to do. If we can get above 30, there might be a trade or potential short all the way up to 55 if it sets up. And of course, if we get below 10, that's where I'm really looking. I want to see what kind of activity we have below 10. If we break underneath, settle, meaning we stay underneath, we try to get back up and can't, then we have the potential to go after that 4100 level. But if we go right through and come right back, that could just be a run on stops. That could be a decent long to take with a low risk. So those are the couple trades that I'm looking at right now. Above 41.30 for potential shorts, below 41.10 for potential longs, depending on how it breaks. But anything else, not a whole lot to do. Sometimes, you know what? On a day like today, on a week like today, you make your money yesterday, and today you just sit tight and wait. So there's no point in wasting money when there's no real opportunities. So maybe waiting is the way to go today.
Great stuff. Thanks so much, Arun. We'll check back in again tomorrow. Arun getting all kinds of love on the chat right now. He will be back, guys, this afternoon. Come and join us at 3:15. We'll take you through the last hour of trading, or 45 minutes anyways. We'll go to Verizon next. Another one not really doing a heck of a lot here as far as movement in the pre-market. The company lost 178,000 wireless subscribers in its current quarter. That number way bigger than expected, but pretty muted action so far, guys.
Verizon. Yeah, I'm not even, I have it written down here. I'll look at that in a second. I just want to talk about someone here. Michael Davis was pretty funny here. Arun is the Barry Bonds of the futures market. So, but I'm pretty sure Arun's all natural. So,
heck yeah, of course he is.
Yeah. No, he just said he's on steroids. So, anyway, so thanks to Arun. And look, guys, join us in the afternoon show today if you're interested. Oh, yeah, my board's not working. I sent a message to you guys already about that one. But join us in the afternoon show. Arun will be with me and Brendan today at 3:15, and we can talk everything gun show related and trading, by the way, guys. Arun, a great futures trader, been with us for 15, 20 years. I don't even know. We'll find out this afternoon how long he's been here. So a great idea. Thank you, Arun. I know Arun's been having a great year. So definitely, guys, follow some of those levels. I know we do. I do write them down and then take a look. That's when we analyze the NASDAQ. You can't trade blind. We talk about that all the time. Like, you know, if the NASDAQ is tanking and I'm long NASDAQ names, you know, you want to look to levels in the NASDAQ of maybe a bounce spot and then correlate that with the stock. So Arun, thank you for stepping up and in, and he will be with me at the close. That should be an exciting one. We'll miss Neil, of course, but Arun, a different perspective, and always great to have him on. Verizon, oh yeah, and it's nice when he's in the building, just in case we need a bodyguard. Okay, Verizon right now, look, 58.50. That's the top. It made that top yesterday. We'll look to see if it can take it out. It's only 137,000 shares. It's not an overly crazy name. If you're in Verizon, you're in it for the dividend, and you just hope that they don't screw anything up. So it doesn't look like that's happened here. I'm in a similar name here in Canada, like Rogers. You can go into BCE. Rogers and Shaw are merging, Cogeco, a bunch of different names, Verizon, AT&T. They're all the same. They're all just dividend monsters. You're looking to pick that up. So I don't think there's any worries here. Obviously, I would be a buyer of some of these names. If you get to some of these levels, 54, 55, the 50 period is all the way down here. This is not going to be an exciting enough trade for me today, but I do think that, like I said, if you're an investor in any of these names, then you're not upset with this play today from Verizon. It is down 0.1, so that's nothing into earnings. Good report. I don't have any problems with it. Just to check to see if it was here on the locator, and this is what I'm talking about. It's a New York name. Everybody pretty much owns it in the hedge fund world, and there's not even any interest in it here for the open. We have Fisker, but that's coming soon.
Next, in fact, let's talk about Fisker. We mentioned it yesterday. It had quite the volatile session. Initial strength ended up being sold off pretty hard, although we did hold this gap from the prior session, so it did end the day in positive territory. We're up again, kind of back in this giant range from yesterday, guys. Again, if you missed it, Bank of America with a positive note on Fisker, kind of pulling them out of the EV group, saying this one could be the one.
Yeah, and if you look across the rest of the space, I mean, you're still seeing the rest of that weakness come through. Now, 1330 was a breakout price. It's going to correspond with the 19th year, well, Monday anyways, that top in the pre-market, and then you get the breakout in yesterday's session through that price. There was an attempt to try to hold it here. I tried to hold this level on a bit of a dip. First time it did, the second time it did not. It broke through. So it's right back and we're at this key level. So, I kind of feel like this is like the go zone for me here. I got more shares at Digital Ally, and watch out, Oxygen to that high, that 670. It's getting pumped pretty good. It looks to the upside here, and yesterday it sold off. But Fisker, this 1330, this 1330 to 1320, that's going to be like that line in the sand. I mean, if you take a breakout today, I can't expect the same thing as yesterday. It basically went up a clean dollar plus before coming back in. I do believe it's likely to be the strongest of the group once again, but I think if you get half that, you're pretty happy, and you don't let it back below that 1320. Like if it breaks the top here, and we're talking like 1355, 1350 if you want to take it, I prefer 55s. You take that trade, you're looking for halfway around that 14. You're giving yourself only about to that 20 to 25, or just a little bit of a tighter stop than you would have put in yesterday's action, because day two, I can't see it being quite as good. If there is a big dip, yeah, I'd look to defend that 1265 area on Fisker, and I don't want to be defending the bottom in any of the other EV names. This is the one that actually has some momentum to the upside. Although, in the U.S. names anyways. I mean, if you wanted to talk about NIO, that actually showed some signs of life yesterday as well.
So we'll play a little Superman action here with Fisker, because it was, I came out, a day or two before that report on Fisker and said that it was the best EV name that I liked anyways. And then we get the support yesterday from, Morgan, I guess, with the upgrade on Fisker yesterday. So we already talked about that days and days ago before that happened. So if you're along with me, or when we were talking about it anyways, that's 12 and change there. You get 13 now. It's not a sexy name. It is a sexy name right now, but it's not. The returns are nowhere near where we'd like them to be on Fisker. I had this whole move yesterday, so you guys saw that off the open. Play the momentum to the long side on Fisker. We had that, and I know Neil was trying to pick some longs, but you could see here the rest of the day. I mean, unless you somehow manage to think that random area of 1290 would hold, then you didn't really find too many longs. We did hold this area 1270. So Fisker today, guys, is really a play that I like. I know Neil was not really loving this, but I like a long through 13. If it can hold that all the way back down, where is it there? 1250. It's the second line. So you can follow that on my, you can tweet it out there, Valeria. My Twitter page there has my notes on there. And I just think that this 1250 bottom yesterday, if I'm going to go long 13, then, I mean, it's already broke through 13, so that's fine. But 13 long, if it comes back in, that's where we want to take the long. So 13.10, even 13.20, maybe right here, start building the long. 13.30, like right here, just needs to come in. I do have bids, and then I want to hold that all the way to 12.50. So again, it's going to be like how I trade Palantir, where if I can get 13s, I'll take like half of my position. So let's just use 100 shares as an example. If it comes down into this area, 13.20, I'll put on like 50 shares, if we're using 100 as an example. So put on 50 shares. Then it comes into 13, maybe I'll put on 20 more shares to get an average price. And then as we come into this area, 12.80, I would finish the averaging in with the last 30 shares there, so that you have an average price around 13, 13, 13.10, 13.05, something like that. So those are the kind of plays that I want to make on Fisker, giving it back to 12.50. If it breaks that 12.50 low, then hey, the truth is out there. These EV stocks are garbage, and they need to be continued to be sold. So we'll try Fisker. We'll see if they have momentum behind it, but that's my play. I can't lay it out even better than that. That's where my orders are going to be. That's where they are. They're not there now. I'm going to put them there. That's where my orders are going to go, and that's roughly the share allotment. And by roughly, I mean exactly the share allotment that I'm going to have on Fisker. So, I mean, if I can't play it out for you live, that's my thinking, and we're all about education here. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense to you. I could be completely wrong, but that's my risk profile. That's what I'm doing, and I hope you guys can follow that, because that's the logic that I use in many of my trades.
Right, I feel like it's still going to be a while before we're able to get on cruise ships, specifically in the U.S. They're still talking about June, I believe it is, before anything gets underway. But Goldman Sachs coming out today, guys, talking about Norwegian upgrading the stock. Berenberg as well, analysts coming out with a price target increase on this stock. So if we talk about those reopening type plays or travel type names, this one standing out this morning, strength coming in here, 1.8%. But again, another one that's kind of inside a big range from yesterday.
So it kind of is worth noting that the last time we had like a sort of capitulation flush, and there was what seemed like a sharp bottom made on Norwegian, and this will be like just a couple weeks ago on the 24th. You had the first day. The first day back was a nice little green day, and you made a nice little run. Now it was not the most rapid snapback. You're going to zoom in here and have a quick look, and it's not as if it went the entire way at once, but it was a solid rebound. You cashed the upgrade today. And I look at that and say, okay, 27.50. If we can break through this level, the risk to reward. I mean, you saw a multi-day climb the last time we saw a pattern like that on Norwegian, and it catches the upgrade. I feel like the risk reward is going to be there. You have 50 cents worth of downside to that 27 even, so you probably want to leave yourself a little bit of room on that break. If only because breakouts haven't always been the jam lately. I mean, certainly buying dips in this market has been a pretty solid one. But I'll take my shot at Norwegian today. I know a lot of times we'll trade Carnival Cruise, but I've been caught in the trap in the past where there's specific news on, say, Norwegian. I like Carnival because of its liquidity, and you'll go over there, and then Norwegian just performs better. So today, this is the one I have written down. This is the one that I want to be playing in today, and it's going to be Norwegian. I like 27.50 as a long, but I got to make sure I give myself room to be able to buy in from 27. And if it breaks below that, I'm willing to walk away and say that there's just no juice to it. We can't step in front of this downward trend. This little relief is not going to extend itself. That's the thing about today, liking some long ideas. You got to consider this turns into a rollover day, and we sort of get another day to the downside. You can't get too stubborn. You got to find the stocks that you think that you're comfortable, can find some good bottoms, where the value will come in, where the big money will step in at that bottom instead of the momentum money to the upside. So as much as I like that breakout in 27.50, I'm not getting terribly stubborn below 27 in Norwegian.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote down CCL. For me, I knew that Norwegian was on the list, but we do have a lot of traders that follow us with CCL. Shout out to you, Daryl. Shout out to, I think, Cincinnati Video Guru as well, looking at CCL. I mean, you guys give us a lot of help and a lot of names all of the time. This 25.50 held in the middle of the day yesterday. I don't think it holds today. Well, not only do I not think it's going to hold today, I think it's going to break right now. We will take a short. That was the one thing that we wrote down on our note. And again, here, if you're following on Twitter, not to keep showing it, but people always ask for the sticky note. I just want to bring this to everyone's attention right here. See the CCL 25.50 downside, but I also made a note here. watch the ES. And I think you guys might know what that means. That's the S&P 500. So you got to watch the ES here, because if it continues, this is the NASDAQ. I mean, I'll put up the ES for you. It's just the way it codes out here. If the S&P continues to fall as well, then this 2550 could just be one of my greatest trades for the day, because if that continues, if it continues to fall, I don't know if there's any size here at 20. Yeah, there is. So there's a little bit of size here at 2550 on the New York book. I don't expect 200,000 to be anything, but what we're going to do is we're going to take this out. So I'm going to give you the trade again. I'm going to go short through 2550 right now. If it breaks that bottom, that's going to be fantastic for me. We'll go short there. It trades out really well. I'm expecting it to come back down to 25.10. If we can test that bottom yesterday, remember, I mean, the virus, although people can think about whatever they want with the vaccines and things like that, the variants are still around. We had the Vancouver Canucks here in the NHL possibly losing their season. They're back now, but they had like 23 players or something, that all caught the virus. And thank God everyone's healthy, and we wish that for everybody. But like Brendan said, is anybody getting back on cruise lines? The CDC does not seem to be playing nice with any of these companies. So I look for a 25.50 break. And the best part about this trade is it gives us an out of only 30 cents. So we don't have a problem. If we go short 25.50, we have this top yesterday. And we also have the top coinciding with today's pre-market action. So we could get out at 25.80, 25.90. If you want to hold the 26, that's great. So I think it has a 50-cent trade down to the downside, but you also have some love on the upside as well where you can get out. So I think there's a lot of support behind this. We'll check the imbalance locator quickly again. Normally CCL's on here. And again, I don't know if this is just telling us what kind of day this is going to be, but not much action here at all. We have SOS. Neil likes to talk about that in Silvergate. We can get to them in a bit as well. But I mean, for right now, man, it seems like it's a pretty sleepy day. And when that happens, the market, look, on no action, does the market more likely to go up or down? To me, that's down. People are going to be selling some positions there. Netflix does not help any of these FANG positions, therefore not helping NASDAQ. I look for a negative day on CCL, and I want to punch that 25.50 short.
All right, just watching Bitcoin here. Not really doing much, but yeah, some of the crypto-related stocks just popping up there to the downside. Coming off a bit, let's talk about Palantir Technologies. Not a huge story. There were a couple of technology-related patents issued to the company yesterday, but the bigger news story that has seemed to move stocks of late, Cathie Wood's ARK Invest fund buying 1.1 million shares. I just checked, guys. It did almost 50 million yesterday. It was like 47.5 million, I think, volume-wise on the session. Cathie Wood doing 1.1 million of that volume.
Yeah.
He gets aggressive, man.
I only did 200,000 of that volume, so I don't really know. But yeah, so I'm joining Cathie Wood there. This 21, I keep talking about it. Palantir's a stock that I look at every single day. You guys know that, and I'll be looking at it again today. I wrote down on the board 2150, but you can see it's at this bottom. And if it's just a matter of if you believe in the name. You can't be buying these stocks right now thinking that you're going to get a win come Friday, 2 or 3 days from now. I do not like any of these names, period. I don't even like DraftKings for a swing, let alone Palantir. But we're going to see their earnings. They're going to come out. They just had demo day again, part 2 with Foundry. There's going to be more deals announced very, very soon. That doesn't seem to move the stock. So I don't know what's going to move the stock other than a change in opinion and feels out there from some of the big boys. We do know that it was a direct listing. We do know that the company's 17, 18 years old. And we do know that shareholders are selling current position off. So, I mean, every single move up on Palantir seems to get hit. And now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row red. And before that, there was a nice move up green, touches the 50-period moving average, and then right back to the downside. So for me, it's a buy through 22, and we can talk about that. Again, if you look at yesterday's chart, here's 22 right here. You had some dip action. It did bounce off 22. We did have that trade as well, and then it came all the way back to the downside, and then we loaded up. You saw in the afternoon show, this is where we put on a lot of our shares yesterday. Right as the show was closing, we played off that 21 level, and we look to do the same today. So yesterday it bounces off 21.25. For me, the bounce off spot's going to be 21.50, but I'm playing it differently today. I'm going short Palantir. I want to go short Palantir through 21.50 today, maybe even this 21.60 level short on Palantir, but that's just right where it is. So we're going to give it a little more love to 21.50. But because I'm a perma bull, it seems like, I will also play the long. Isn't that unbelievable that, you know, I talk about going long and short. So far today, the games that I've given you guys, we've talked about going CCL short, and now I like Palantir short through 2150 or long through 22, whatever one comes first. That's the trade I'm going to be on.
I just want to quickly come to SOS because I know some of you guys were watching it here, and this was the move I think that was being referenced. All it did, and there was no move in spot. Like it just, all you had is a bit of a bottom break here, and there was not an iceberg order, but there was clearly a bit of a level forming at 414, and then that bid just dropped, and we're now into $4. So it does feel like the weakness has come in to these. And we talked about oversized moves. I mean, if we're not going to hold. And look, we just bounced back up to like 55, and we're basically doing nothing on spot Bitcoin. So, you know, SOS on any drop is going to be outsized. If we get back below that 55,000, start trending towards some of the recent lows, I'd be looking at a 4 break, certainly. But you got to remember how strong this was yesterday. Some profit taking is likely what we are seeing here. I don't think this is a reaction to any moves that are in spot. This, to me, was profit taking when it broke that 414.
I want to have a look at Apple here real quick before we go, carry on. DraftKings still to go here, but just while I was thinking of it, let's talk about Apple here. It was about, no, it was earlier than that. It was around here, I think it was, in the afternoon. We started to get a little bit of selling pressure coming in as they unveiled their new product lineup. I mean, it wasn't new product lineup. It was different products that they already have. But what do we think about Apple here today? I mean, it is showing a little bit of weakness here in the pre-market, 0.5%. There's definite levels here that we can work off of, but a lot of people are going to be looking at Apple, I feel.
Yeah, I do feel like they are. They might be a little bit, I'd say, disappointed. Now, nothing groundbreaking came, and I don't think that's going to be a major shock to anybody, but you do have this 132. We're basically at this like 132 level. You go back into when we touched that 135, and there was that rejection. We talked about this earlier on in the week here. I think on Monday we were mentioning this. You know, trying to get through that 135.50, and then that pullback was right into about 132. We've now made exactly the same move. You get that kind of like a double test at a recent high, and then it tries to punch through. I mean, is there going to be a capitulation? 132 is a mark that you got to watch. You look for that to be a bit of a bellwether. I'm looking over at the positive sign I think would be the Netflix is actually looking like it's holding up for now. So we're back above like 500. We're at that 507 mark. So there is some buying coming back into that name, but it's not extending itself across the board. And if Apple breaks that 132, you're watching key levels in the futures. You also have to remember key levels on the major names within the index. And if Apple breaks through that number, it's going to be significant, is possibly as significant as the ES or the NASDAQ breaking through their lows. So that's where the watch is for me. I'm still going to wait. I'm still looking for an opportunity to maybe pick some up. It's not. I don't think it's going to drop anywhere far enough that you necessarily have to get back in. Those teams were great. Maybe the 20s, low 20s would be fantastic for you there. You always want to be buying some on some weakness. And then when it comes, you never want to forget about that 135.50 break, because the more times you reject off a level like that, it just makes it even sweeter when it eventually does go. So, as much as it looks like we're going to get a test of that 132, file that 135 away and make sure it's in your back pocket for the future.
All right, guys, let's continue along. We had another earnings name on the list this morning, ASML. The company makes equipment that makes semiconductors. So you can tie the two together a little bit. There's been the global shortage. We've talked about it to death for semiconductors. So blowout report here for ASML this morning.
I actually missed that one on our report, but I do see that it's a $600 name. So ASML again, you talked about it, the right name, the right space, and apparently the right quarter. Wow, yeah, up to 635 there, sharply higher this pre-market semiconductor. Let's go chart. Semiconductor name here. My pick has been for 2021. We talked about the SMH, and it's this stock definitely helping out today, anyways. And look at this move that this has had in the new year. So 526 makes a bottom of 502, and now it's I mean, this is. I wonder what shareholders, look, if I'm a shareholder of this name, I definitely do not sell this, as that, it could have easily took out there on a bad report to 618, 620. You do have the top of 611 right now. So ASML, if you're in this name, I would get out if we do break below this level here, 611, or 612, whatever it is. It doesn't matter, 610, let's call it. And then it looks like right now, off of a nice move, 3% up, that you could take out to 645. We're not very far away from this 650 655 break. So you break back up 655. I think that's going to be a long. I don't have too much comfort with ASML. You've never seen me trade it on the show. So we'll look at this name today because it's in play. But to me, it's in this range. What's it done today so far? Touches out at 642. Similar to NVIDIA when they reported, similar to all these semis. They're a loved sector, and there's a lot of people looking at this right now. So I think if ASML could take out this 642, it's probably a long. Just to let you know, I probably won't be in this name, but if you do like it, 642 to the long side, I like it too. It's just, again, it's a familiarity thing, and I'm not really comfortable with ASML. I'd rather trade an NVIDIA or an AMD, Intel, STM, Micro, MU, Micron. Like, I know all these, no problem. Not so familiar with ASML, but congratulations to anybody long ASML. I just got in another position, so we'll talk about that before we throw it over to Neil. Notice the graphic, okay? Get unplugged, so you know it's Fisker. We are now long Fisker. We take that break of 1350. I still, this is, again, it's not a heavy position. I would still love it to come back in. I have my orders. I planned it out for you already. I've got orders 1320. I've got orders 13 teens. I've got orders lower to wait to see what happens at that 1250 level. So we're going to play this off today. We had a monster win yesterday, one of my best trades of the day. We went long on a similar break. It was 1350 yesterday. That exact same long went all the way to 1450. We were out about 14s and 1425s. So let's see if we can get this one out at 14 again. We'll take a 50-cent win on Fisker and then hold. We'll get out of 80% of it if we can, and then we'll hold it backside to see, or long side, if we can get that 1450 break. But hey, here we go. It's already at 1458, so a nice little 5-cent win already.
All right, one more little one to go to, guys. NNDM, we'll talk about that. Not on the watch list this morning, but we mentioned it yesterday. You can see on the daily chart, monster volume day. Yesterday, it did fade off of this initial strength that we saw come into it, 775 all the way back down to 680, 685. Two ways you can approach this. If we're going to move into 680, 685 here, even 690, you can call it 690 down to 680. Some of these support areas from yesterday afternoon. Look for buyers to come in and push this thing back up. Otherwise, 740 was that high, and then 750 above it. Pivot from the morning yesterday on NNDM. Guys.
Thanks, Brandon. Was just going to mention here that past that 670 on OCG, and it goes to like 680, so not very much past that key level, that sort of pre-market previous high. It looks like it's trying to pull back. Just want to look at this little cluster here. The 640 area off of the open looks like it's going to be a key one, at least for me here, if it does make a bit of a pullback. We didn't talk any Coinbase today. I just want to throw out a couple of things because every time there's a good dip buy in Coinbase, we don't want to necessarily miss out on it. And that 310 level, which was the look, 310 is the low on the first day, the bottom that it made on its first day of trade. That got tested and gave you quite possibly, one of your best long opportunities. 320 gave you one early in the morning that we were involved in. And I don't want to miss out on a test of the 310, which does feel like it could be in play today if we get a negative day. So watch out, Coinbase. I like the 311-ish area. You pick it up in front of that all-time low, last week's low, and then we'll see if we can't get one of those like nice $6 scalp trades. I have Digital Ally, of course, the hype possibly falling out of that one this morning, so it's coming to the downside. And then OCGN, I'll let it pull back into 640, but as I say it, I mean, Coinbase just dropped $4, so it could do, this is what it did yesterday into the open, like right when we were talking about it, the exact same thing. It just started flushing into these levels, so you got to be on guard. I don't know that if it's breaking 310 right at the open before the open, there's no way I'm taking it. My level was a pre-market high in Fisker. It's not that much of a difference. It's 61, so I'm defending it on a pullback and leaving some room to buy the dip. I don't like anything else in the EV space, but once again, Coinbase dropping into the open. It feels like deja vu here.
Yeah, we've already got the win right now, so we'll belly dance it off, but we're not taking it, just to show you guys that we do have this Fisker. My order's already here. Where is it? Let me find the order to sell. I don't even know. Did I even put an order? Oh, there it is, 1391. So we're waiting for 1390s upside right now. We'll see if it can tick that. It'll be a big win for us. We rocked this stock yesterday pretty hardcore, so we'll wait to see. Okay, CCL, let's check the imbalances. I just got a short right there, so we'll wait to see where that's going to come through. But CCL, I just took the short, and I talked about this ahead of this number. The call that I made was 25.50. I still have that short on board. Obviously, if that comes in, will be huge. because we're going to already have the short 79, but now it's printing nothing, 78, 79, 71 right there. So it's already a nice little win, but the spread big. So we're not counting that. But we are going to look to see where to get this thing out. And I think just if we're wrong, it's going to be a 26 break. That could happen early. So I probably don't get out right away. If I do, I'll get out at maybe half at 26. But there it is already. Like, look at this. You pick the right spots, you get the winner sometimes. So already printing, 71, 72s. But that's the bid ask right now with only 15 seconds to go, Neil.
Yeah, market about to open here. I got Coinbase on the bid side. I'm going longs to NCLH, and 27 is my kill point there. That's where I want to reverse into the short. I needed to break that bottom. But it looks like Coin is going to be the one. The countdown, I hit it. So I'm going to have to go manually for you. Of course, now it comes on. It's actually down to 2 and 1. And Maggie's on the bell. Let's get this party started. Ring that bell.
Okay, so we are long Coinbase here as well, man. 313. If it breaks below that 309, we're gone, guys. That's Coinbase. Got to watch out for this one.
Yeah, I mean, this one's going to come almost like right away. So I feel like that's going to be likely first trade. I got my bid in and set to go. Looks like Fisker's trying to come back to that downside. But Coinbase,
Let's go,
that's going to be the
CCL.
focus, guys.
Yeah, CCL monster time already, guys. Bang! We already hit CCL out of the park right now. So barbecuing up the profits. Look at this chart, guys. 1 for 1. And then we go short again. Boom for CCL. We back in the building and we making that money. If you're not happy with trading, then you're watching the wrong show because here's a fire position right here. CCL to start the day.
Oh, you got to be kidding me, Coinbase.
Oh, hell yeah.
311.18 is the bounce price. I'm going to go both directions here. If it comes up to 317 or retests that open flush, I'm going to go short in Coinbase up that $5 range base, guys. NTLH is holding 27, so it's got a little bit of relative strength. That's the only level I want to defend here, and if it goes below that, it turns into a short for me.
Adios. Here it is. CCL, guys, 25.50. And we also broke that down to you. You saw me take that 79 trade. So here it comes. Bang, 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 bang to the downside. Big time winners right there. Our Coinbase does go in the money for us, about $1.50. We still are long 313, and we're going to hold that forever. Let's get this out at 319 to the upside. Again, maybe I just have rose-colored glasses here with Coinbase. But CCL, right down to the day's low, man. We can't do anything more other than give you that call. So right now, guys, we'll explode some cash as CCL just continues to the downside.
And here comes that actual ASML trade. Now, I don't know if you said you wanted to take this one, Sean, but I didn't get a chance to get a word in. 642, that top. I like the rollover in this. I just kind of feel like if you're going to get a chance to take out that high and it fails at it, which it looks like it just did at the open, I'm going to look to see if it can't be a bit of a short play off that same 642 level. It's not quite there yet, but I think it has a chance. And then Fisker, for me, it's going to be the similar play. We did say we wanted to buy a dip. Leave some room for the dip in Fisker, but if it cannot hold the bottom, which it's trying to right now,
right.
I'm not going to average in blindly. I want to see consolidation. That's the first thing first. It was like with Peloton the other day to the short side of the trade. If I don't see consolidation, if I don't see a bounce first, I'm not going to get into more shares. It's trying to do so at the pre-market lows. You just saw the first attempt at it. That's enough for me to pick some shares up here in the 20s and then see if you can get an actual defend. Digital Ally, which I've been sitting in all morning long, and I just got Coinbase as well. Digital Ally, starting to make a move to the upside here. I was able to get some 170s out at 163, and then it started shooting up on me. Now, to me, the hype is possibly gone off of this name. My charts will go up. 175. This is the spot I want to average into on Digital Ally. Brendan?
I just saw this one. Fuel Cell, guys. FCell, one of the clean energy names. Big opening print. Volume alert. Huge one right at the open there, but it has completely reversed. We're back above prior support, 820, going back a long time on FCell, guys.
Oh, no way.
Okay, so Coinbase just did a little dance there. Like, we got hit there because it goes down to 308 and then rips right back upside right there. So we're long again now. We can make this back. It's not a problem. I'm wondering if that was the flush, but here comes Coinbase now back to the downside, man. We are long here. You got to give it to this bottom. No idea what's going to be happening with Coinbase. Good thing we cashed out of the majority. Look at that. Like, when this goes down to 25 on CCL, man, you got to ring the register. Remember, pigs get slaughtered in this game. So if you're going to be holding forever, it's probably not going to work out for you. So Coinbase, CCL, a nice out there at the quarters.
I mean, Coinbase, I finally got that fill in. I was able to get out of the long, but then I had a trigger to go short on that all-time low break. That came in rather slowly. Remember, 310 is the all-time low. So I got 0998 on the way back. I just took out a quick scalp trade, and then I'll go to 305. I just feel like 300 is going to be a level on Coinbase. Call it a psychological thing, but beggars can't be choosers. I'm going to make sure I take some profit on the way down here. I expected there to be a bid. It turns out there really wasn't one at that 310 level. It just sort of broke like an absolute sieve. But I had the long and lost. I'm going to scalp some of that money back here with the first $2 winner, and then see if you can't get to 305. If 305 breaks, I kind of feel like I'm more interested in mounting a defense at 300, I should say, than I am going into another long at 305 or short at 305.
Okay, so our Fisker goes instantly nicely in the money. We did take that bid as well. So out some there at 47. Our Fisker average price right now is 32s. So again, if we take that 14 out, that'd be great. That's a big trade for us there on FSR. CCL, we're averaging into it now. We did get out. We did take another position. You can see our average price now 57. So part of that is there and part of that is there. But we're going right back to the upside. So we did give an out of like 26.10, something like that. That's going to be still on board for me. So no idea why CCL just ripped up there, but hey, we don't need to know why. We just need to trade the action here. And right now, CCL busting upside. We hit that big time there. That was a good trade. Now we won't give it all back, but let's just see what happens now. Whoa, okay. Now it's getting excited to the upside. One more fill around 26, and then we're going to be gone on a 26.10 retrace back to the downside. I can't believe that Coinbase there. It's just dancing around.
That was dirty in Coinbase. Brendan?
Anyone wondering about this WBT 52-week highs at the open there? This is a takeout company, WBT Well-Built Incorporated, being bought by Middleby. This is an all-stock deal for $4.3 billion, so 25% for WBT, guys.
I want to come, if I can, I missed out on Ocugen there because that action on Coinbase was kind of crazy. I want to come to that ATHE as well because it did make a bit of a turnaround. I had like a quick little scalp trade when it tried to reverse 152s before we came on the show. This was actually at 8 o'clock. Then look at the double top at 158. I'm going to play the short side. It's the easy way around it. Here's that 145 bottom. If it pops back into that price, that's when I'm going to start the short position. Digital Ally is sort of back in the money, but Coinbase is just holding. When we say it's doing nothing, I mean, here's the dance. Well, of course, it's not going to load. Here's the dance that's sort of happening here. You have a 30-cent spread, but it can't seem to get back above 310, and then it can't seem to really flush either. So I'm sitting in no man's land here, and if it busts 310 even, because I like that defensive level, I don't even want it breaking that. If it breaks 310, I'll get out flat. Some slippage. Otherwise, I'm trying to get out in front of 305, that short trade. And then I'll try another shot at this one, maybe at 317 to the short side. But again, this is a day trade. I own Coinbase. I want it to go up in the long run, but obviously you got to play the price action here. We didn't get into, here it goes, now down to like 307. So it does feel like it is sliding down. Remember, it's already broken its all-time low. There are no actual reference prices we have at this point beyond psychologically 300, and then I guess the 250 reference price.
Yeah, and I think that's the key, right? We don't know where any of these names are going, but we can try to give you some kind of a reference price there. I tried the long at Coinbase and failed on that. Right now we're short CCL, we're short Palantir, and Fisker trying to go back downside here to that 1250 level. But we're just going to have to hold some of these names right now as the market not really doing anything. What's up, Brendan?
Netflix trying, guys. Day highs here just made on Netflix through that initial spike high, 511.5 there on volume. Still down, but trying to claw its way back, guys.
I had 5. Look, and it's gonna. I had 525. I didn't think it was gonna get there, but it feels like if there's a press into that number, we're not exactly screaming to the upside in the market here, guys. So if Netflix wants to make a rebound and come halfway, I think that's gonna be a fade at that price. ASML and Ocugen, yeah, that could actually be a gonzo. Like now at 640. ASML does not really make that test as strong as I would like. It's a tiny amount of shares, 200,000. So it didn't really get much of a bid up in the 640 range. But if it tries to climb there now, I think you look at that 642, and it's either sort of breakout or fade. I tend to fall on the fade side today with the market not doing too much here. It gives you that bit of a tight stop to have a bit of a look on it. Fisker, I'm letting it sell itself down. I think as long as it can hold these teams, it's going to be worth a bit of an ad there to improve the average price, but no need to force it. And Coinbase, if you can only give me $2, it's going to be a disappointment.
Yeah, I've already gotten hit there on Coinbase. I like a 310 break if we can get that to the upside there. We are right now in Palantir, so you guys can have a quick look at that on my screen. This is where we've averaged in. We talked about it. We're putting our money where our mouth is. We take that 2150 short, but then it rips up against us. So for right now, I just don't know, what to do with Palantir. I mean, I have a plan, and we're going to take it. And what the plan is basically is to wait to see what happens at $22. I've averaged in. Our price is not great. It's 56. So I'm not putting a lot of risk into this movement, but we've seen Palantir, it makes nice moves and then it can fade back in. So we'll hold this one and see if it can go. But CCL looks like it wants to take out the top now. I told you about that 2610. It looks like it's going to come. We're going to get hit. So we are going to give, we're going to give some of that back. We are still holding a little bit of it. I want to give it to the quarters, but 2610, we just got hit there on CCL as it starts to move to the upside. But right now, that's about it, man. Fisker doing a dance as well. Palantir, CCL, and that ATHE. We wait.
Brendan?
Yeah, that NCLH also moving back to the upside. I noticed this one too, guys. XXII, tobacco-related company, popped up on that news, that headline a couple of days ago. It didn't do much yesterday, but we're trying to get back towards the top end of the range, up 3% for XXII.
Yeah, I mean, that was a stock that we definitely traded yesterday. I mean, Coinbase is starting to come in here, but Ocugen is sort of on my radar as it falls right back and breaks that 640. It's trying to make a bounce. I think if it doesn't get past 655, I'm going to try the fade in this trade. I did try short in the pre-market already and took a hit on it. I'll try again there. And there goes Coinbase. So I don't know, gates of, look, it's a winning trade, but gates of hell, because I tried it long first. Now it gets into 305, so you do get that like $4 or $5 move. I just thought the first one would be a bounce. I'm going to get into that Ocugen short to add to the ASML that we got into in here in Digital Ally. Fisker is testing 13. I haven't added to it because it hasn't really based out yet.
I mean, I was really hoping that Palantir on this NASDAQ fall would fall, and it's not really doing that. So we do have a hit here on Palantir. Still think it goes back down, but you guys have just known my play there to the upside. If we have to get out at 22, that's where we have to get out, and we'll watch that. I've re-shorted CCL up here, but I'm not going to give this too much more room, like 26.30, and we're going to be gone on this one. Obviously, as some of these NASDAQ names come down, we've seen it rotate into some of these, different reopening names like a CCL. I'm very, very surprised. Let's see, what is NCLH? I can't believe it's going up. I mean, that was one of my trades to go short side there. NCLH was on our watch list. The same thing, man, up that 4% today. So congratulations, anybody that played some of these cruise lines to the long. I was to the short, but we gave it all back here, going short again, averaging in. So sometimes we do get hit averaging in, and it's not a great strategy. Palantir, though, it seems to be paying off as that's coming back in. What up, B?
Speaking of some of the travel names, UAL just popping up. We mentioned this one yesterday, coming off the earnings that were worse than expected. Watch out for that level right there in the afternoon. 50-40-ish ends up being resistance. We're trying to get back up to that, guys. I
mean, you've got to be. So, again, it's not quite deep enough there. 302 Coinbase just got to. I mean, I was sitting there saying I'd be much more interested in, and again, you take a wing trade to the short side and you get out too early. I just thought that I wanted to play the bounce. I did just miss it. I tried to pick it up at 301. I was sitting waiting for it. It got to 302. I'll still play the long bounce if it has it in it. But Coinbase, I mean, you are seeing a bit of a flush. I just double checked on spot to make sure that we weren't actually doing anything. There isn't really much movement overall in spot price. ASML, I did get into position, so it looks like it finally moved. And it does slide down to VWAP here in the money for me. Now, it's a 639.56 short. It's a $600 stock. So, when it moves $1 in the money, $1.50, you got to put that with a grain of salt. Like, that's actually like less than the amount that I'm going to be risking on the trade. I'm risking a couple of bucks to the upside here, so I needed to break through. You start thinking about this like 636 area for your first profit taking, and then at least lock in like $3 or $4, and then let's see if it can't break down. This was 617. There's a lot of a gap. There's a big gap that can be filled on this move. I'm just not taking $1 on this trade. That would make a heck of a lot of sense.
So here comes CCL. Just talk about it. We're going to get out right now at 26.30. Looks like, oh yes, we did. So we're holding a small piece just to watch it, but we are definitely going to flush ourselves down the toilet there as CCL just went upside. What are we going to do? We're going to be wrong on some trades, and that was one of them for sure. There was CCL. So we're going to wait and hopefully be able to take a winner on it at some point, as we do have a small short right now, 26.17, but definitely not paying off at all, this CCL short today. We tried it. It was cash, but unfortunately I got too excited about it and really liked it too much and averaged into that trade. Sometimes those are winning trades. Today not. It looks like we might have just had the top there. That's why we hold a little bit just in case. Make some money back on the downside move. Netflix, obviously an earnings play there that we've talked about a little bit today, but not traded it. It goes as high as 515. The levels I wrote down was 503.50. So if we can come back in there, we'll look at a 503.50. That was the 200 period. It doesn't look like we'll test any of the lows, but we are breaking VWAP right now. So again, I remember distinctly trading Netflix on earnings, and I don't normally trade it very well. So they start off the fangs, their Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google, which is now Alphabet. They start them off today negatively. So let's see if Netflix can't hold some of these bottoms. If not, we'll look to see if it can go down that 10% today. But I don't mind a 515 buy here if the buyers come in. You could get 515 to 520. That's $5.
Yeah, and I just got over to well, not Netflix. Sorry, I wanted to go to Ocugen here. OCGN. I did try to make this play. I got 636 as an original entry point, and then it spiked up. I'm sitting there trying to get on the way back in when it retook VWAP, and look at that spike. It just came far down. I actually ended up chasing it. I didn't want to get too much worse on my initial entry price. I still a couple of pennies worse than that. I'm going to play this one behind that VWAP, behind that 650 area. It just feels like the pump on this stock might be running out of steam, and then if it gets back down to the 615 area, when I shorted it before, there was some buying that caused a loss in the trade. I probably want to take some profit out for like that 15 to 20 cent worth of a win. Fisker's testing that 13. It just bounced once off of it. I've got my last in that I'm going to take. If it breaks a couple of cents past that 13, I'm going to be out. ASML is starting to head back to that downside, and again, this is more about, you know, if on the news and with a bit of a bump in the market here, if you can't push that high, you can't break that high off of the open or even test it, I'm always going to like that sort of fade rollover trade, especially when something is deep in the money and has been strong. It's getting close to that 636 mark where I can take, you know, over 250, maybe $3 out of the first little bit of the trade. Does it break the low? Not a guarantee, but this is one of the reasons I want to take profit out in front of it if I can.
All right, I was just reading some notes there. Okay, yeah, we have the same trade on Fisker there. Talk about ATHE quickly here, as this was a popular name, part of the chat, you know, before we came on air. And since then, man, it really hasn't done anything. I mean, we've averaged into this long. We already took a little bit of profit at 58. Turns out that was the high of the day, basically there. So that was a good out. But now we're averaged in. And I mean, if you're going to look on the downside, there's some size here, but that's not really scaring me at all. There really is no downside, 136. You can see on the chart, this is why I'm not like super worried about this. You have a 120, basically 110. Like, I don't want to hold to that far because that's a big hit, but we're not really invested too much into this name right now. So, you know, I'm pretty comfortable holding this. But again, if we break basically 120, then we got to get out. I will put on a much bigger position as we come in. But for right now, we're still long 46. I don't think we'll get back up. So you could probably take this out now, but I'm going to hold out hope that maybe something does come out and we are able to get out. I hate using that word hope, but you know what? If we drop below 130, that's psychological enough for me. I'm going to get out at 130, take a 16-cent hit. It's too big, but that's what we're going to do. We do take Coinbase to the long side now, breaking through 310. Probably wise to get a little bit out here, maybe for a $2 winner. I was already taking a $2 hit on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kicking myself over that Coinbase. I did say I'd revisit if it got to that 317 on the bearish side of that trade. So we've gone one long, one short. The short's the one that worked on Coinbase. It didn't quite get to that 317 marker.
There we go.
But it got pretty close. I can tell you right here that Ocugen has really run out of steam. I'm hoping you got that out of the long. It's really run out of steam. I don't think I'm going to necessarily get some more at VWAP here. And I feel like this consolidation might be a safer play. And then if it breaks to the upside, I can just have a tighter stop. So if we hang out in this like 25 to call it like 35 range, I think Ocugen might have to be an add to the short position in this range instead of chasing it and hoping it goes up for me. Digital Ally, I really thought there was a spike to 173. And then I'm like, oh, I can get that 175 action. It never really happened. It's starting to come back in the money. So if I'm going to add to this position, it's going to be right at my average price, which happens to be 69. So I do think this one is coming to the downside, obviously, as you can tell. One other name that we did not talk about, but we've been all over recently, and if we say these high growth names that have been getting punished, Virgin Galactic is one. Of course, today is the day that it actually dips all the way down to 20. That's what we expected to see yesterday's action. We did not get it, despite being short, actually having it be a fantastic stock for me overall. It does bounce off that 20 even. Now you got to see if it has any kind of a rebound in it now that it's tested that level. It did not break. I still like the 20 break. We were shorted into this move at 21.50. That remains a level for me, that 21.50. But I'd take a long break on Virgin Galactic at 21.50 if it ever gets there. Till then, till the pre-market high 21 even is taken, it's still going to be a short.
Yep, good. I mean, great analysis there. We did take out our Coinbase. Thank God we did too, because it bounced off that level. Neil was talking about that 313. That's as solid as it gets right there. So I decided to get out. Like, we're looking at the same charts. I mean, whether or not one of us goes long or short, it's all about the different levels. But look at the NASDAQ blowing up right now, guys. So that may help Coinbase. It may not. But what a gift this was down there. I wish I could have bought some more in my own account. I love Coinbase at these levels. Just for a future play, I think 250 where it initially came out at. Again, we could have got those prices. You saw the market. I think it was, what was it, 360 or something that Coinbase IPO'd at. But now we're way down from that. We're at 300 level. But I like it for the long term. I don't know if many people are selling their shares in Coinbase if you bought it. So that is good, but it's also bad because you're going to have to probably buy at lower levels at some point. That might have been the bottom, 302. We're still long 310, but I'm going to get out if it breaks back down below 310. You have view up here at 309.50. So that was a good break. As you could see, I was in the money. Like, I was in the money on all these, but we got too greedy. So right there, we will take that $2 and watch it. So another trade, though, that... Like, I'm normally long Palantir down here at 21.50. Unfortunately, that was the play that I had today. I was talking about the NASDAQ being negative. I didn't like some of the rhetoric there from, not the rhetoric, but just how Netflix was trading in the pre-market and how much it got hammered down. I thought the NASDAQ would be down today. This one's completely on me, but looks like we're going to lose that 34 cents, 44 cents on Palantir if it does break above 22. Just to double check. Yeah, my outs, just slightly above 22. So we get that break, we gone. But we may get back. If this gets back to 21.75 right now, I'll take a little bit off and lower that exposure. But I do like this play. Coinbase still going. Fisker, we're loaded up here. We just defended that level. Probably should have got some out. But Neil's slapping up right there, so let's see what's going on.
Yeah, it's going to be that ASML. Now, look, it rolled in the money here for me. I said I wanted 636 to take out $3.5 worth of profit. It does turn around, make that top end push. Now, it was a good number. I just like the rollover on that level in front of 42, especially when it didn't go off at the open. But I got to have an out. That out was going to be the high of the day every time. So if it comes back down, I live with it. You're going to take hits when you go counter trend. That's always going to be the nature of the game. Speaking of the counter trend, OCGN is going up. I mean, well, okay, OCGN is up 15%, I should say, and it was going up into the open. But this is that sort of consolidation. It continues to hold this range, which means if I can, of course, I don't want to chase it too far. I want prices in and around what I got here, that 33 to 34. So I'm just going to pick a few more shares up in this consolidation. I don't want to let this particular one go too far against me. I think if it makes a run to the top side, I'd like to test in front of the high of the day as well. Brendan's got some news for us. What's up, bud?
I just noticed both gold, GLD, if you want to look at an ETF, moving to the upside today, guys, and this one as well, SLV, silver ETF, also on a tear, 2% to the upside ever since the open this morning, 24.15 to 24.5, guys, for SLV.
I heard some talk about saw some talk there. Now I hear it from you, Brendan, on SLV. So very interesting there. As we talk about money supply and the move over to gold, into silver, into Bitcoin as well. We'll talk about that in a minute. Really happy with this ETHE. We should have gone long when we were talking about it, but again, we were uncertain of what this story was going to be. But now it comes right back up. I'm debating getting this out, man, for a 2-cent loss. That makes sense to me at this point. So for ETHE, I don't want to get too greedy here and probably just take a little bit out now for a small loss. You've already got this win on board, so that's good. Small loss there. Coinbase still trying to go, man. So confetti time right now, as we're 250 now in the money, but we're at that point now where there's no return because you're either going to go short at 314 or think about going long. So I'm only going to think about long because I'm long already, but that's a good trade for us. And here goes Fisker now. Buy, and now we're going to the upside. Let's see if we can't make another win today on FSR, my new favorite EV name.
And look, you mentioned the ATHE. Like I was waiting for this pop. I wanted to get the break somewhere at that 150. Of course, it flushed off of the open. We're looking at Coinbase. I mean, Coinbase just dropped right at 9:30 once again, and it just takes your attention away. But it comes into VWAP. I'll take more shares in the 45 range if I can. It didn't quite get to that price, so I had to pick it up here at 43 or pick it down, whatever. Pick it up here at 43s. I am still watching to see if Coinbase can stretch into that 317. I think there's a scalp trade if it gets up there, but it's not quite making it. Valeria is at the big screen. Let's see what she's got.
Hey Neil, some traders on the chat talk about Wellbeat Corporation. WBT stock is up more than 33%. Guys, do you know about that name and do you consider trading it today?
4%. I'm just looking to see if I can find the news on this thing. I mean, it looks like Yeah, it looks like they're being bought here in a deal. Brennan?
Yeah, I mentioned earlier, guys, it's an all-stock transaction, so it is a buyout, but because it's all stock, definitely seeing some movement on that WBT. 52-week highs today.
Okay, yeah, we'll look at that, but right now we're just raining down the cash as FSR continues to be a beast for me. Great trading here today. We do take that 1350. I talked about why we took that and the share size that we took there. Not major. I mean, you can see my average price here. This is going to be a positive stock, obviously, for me today. There it is. There's another fill, right, where he keeps saying pigs get slaughtered. So I did take some out there ahead of VWAP. Wasn't sure what it was going to do, but we did put these bids on. And again, like we talked about that, right? Fisker long. I mean, if I was just a little bit more patient, what's up, guys? If I was just a little more patient there, you'd see that 13 long on Fisker right there. So we're going to hold it down to 1250. That looks like it's paying dividends right now. So the Fisker long at 13, bang, big trade alert on that one. Palantir, unfortunately, does break that 22. Hey, it's good for our portfolio, just bad for our trading right now on the show. So that was a mistake for us for sure. We talked about going short on Palantir. I normally don't do that, but I was just thinking weak today. Wrong on that one. Like, it's up 1.3% when the NASDAQ is down. Can't remember the last time that happened, but Palantir today ripping to new highs on the day in front of me. So normally I'm long that name, and today we switch it up. We do have some levels here on a 20-minute chart. What is this? This is 2230, 2250. So if we get up into that area, I don't see why Palantir would keep going, but it may just do that. So we'll hold on to a small bit, but yeah, Palantir, that's on me today. I talked about in the pre-market that we liked it. I even wrote down here long through 22, but there it goes now. So there goes Palantir. Fisker, 30-cent winner. Coinbase back down, only 50 cents in the money. I told you that 314 was going to be cash. I was hoping for a break. Looks like it's the other way.
Yeah, I mean, if coin gets back below that 310, I think you're going to get another test that low. Got to watch out for OCGN breaking back to VWAP here. I got some more shares. My price 46 on that one. You have to watch because you know who runs that stock to the upside. Everyone knows it's a board favorite, let's just say. Brendan?
Skills, SKLZ. When we mentioned yesterday, late in the day, there was some volume that came into this thing. Down at recent support, popped up in the morning here in the pre-market higher. Look at this thing ripping to the upside. This is an esports gaming related company, guys, SKLZ.
Yeah. We talked about that before. Good game there. Good gain. Good opportunity to trade that. We did get some of we didn't get any ETHE. I thought we got some 44s there. Was not that fill, so we missed that fill. 44s on ETHE, we missed that, but I think it's about time we get a little bit out on ATHE. ETHE, of course, the Ethereum look. Ethereum today, 2380. Near its highs. This is a daily chart bouncing up a little bit. We could switch over to a 1-minute chart to see exactly what's happening with Ethereum right now. This is what I'm trying to show you guys. Making highs right now on ETHE. So a good trade here. Looks like it wants to break out. 2389 is the high. We're at 2382. So you can look at Amara, a Riot, SOS, SI, various names there, but they're all making some cash today as well. Palantir continues to rip up and Coinbase continues to fail. So we're going to get out if this breaks through 310, guys.
Yeah, and too tight of a stop there on that Virgin Galactic, that first short. I mean, obviously, I make the top wick here, and I like it to the south side. Yesterday, I was sort of like, yeah, I'll just dig in, and I'm just shorting it. I'm going to hold it all day long, as long as it holds 2150. Today was a different story because it essentially put this double bottom, and that's why you're going to go with a tighter stop. I'd rather take paper cuts if it's going to make this move. And then I still like the break at 2150 if it's going to go. It is still looking rather weak, so I'm going to have to hold off to see it test that 21 area again until the OCGN's showing some rejection at that 650 area, trying to get back above it, and it looks like maybe it's going to head to that downside. Coinbase, just to give you a quick idea here, the longer we hang out here, remember 310, of course, we opened with 310 being the all-time low on Coinbase. It's trying to hold that on this recovery. And I'm going to pop in a 315 break and a 310. Like almost, I don't care which direction it goes. It's whichever one first is the scalp trade I'm going to take. And I'm going to look for a 310 break on Coinbase. But I want to make sure I get a good price. Like I'm not crossing down $1. If you're trying to scalp like initially like $1.50 to $2, and eventually you think you're making 3 or 4, I'm not going to chase this thing all the way down to like a 308.80 or a 309. I want to get like 309.50 or better.
Okay, so we just averaged in now. Finally, I'm thinking that we gave you the 2650 level. That looks to be holding right now. I mean, who knows if it's going to hold, but We are trying one more time. See this 26.53 there. We talked about that right here, 26, I guess it was more like 75, but the 50-period moving average is 26.60. So to give it up to there isn't going to hurt me. So we're going to see if it can go to 26.50. Actually, I have to cancel that. I thought it was 26.50, but it's 26.60. So I'm going to cancel my breakout order here. So put this up to 26.60. We'll average into this trade a little bit more, but not too much more. We've already been wrong on CCL. You see the NASDAQ blowing up, man, and we're just enjoying life right now. Fisker, man. Yes, let's get some floss action for FSR. Like, what a great long that was. Just wish I would have held more shares there on FSR, as right now it's taking out the high. Man, that was a good trade. Just don't have enough shares.
Yeah, I mean, I'll second that notion on it, and I'll give up on, at least in the short term, I'll give up on that OCG, and it looks like it's super, super strong there, guys. ATHE is going to be a different story. This one has that look and feel of it as the one that you kind of hang on to all session long. I did miss the double top on that little short going into the open, but we did get the pop into VWAP, or this pre-market level 145. It's now trying to retake this low at 138. Once it does that, I'll start taking some profit off. And Fisker, Sean just talked about that one. Digital Ally is not doing a heck of a lot, and I've got that bracket on Coinbase, which sort of allows me to come back to and we talked about this for like a few seconds when it made a down move, and that's going to be SOS. Now, there was nothing going on in
Kaboom.
In spot Bitcoin. I don't know what happened there. Something just broke. In spot Bitcoin there, spot price, it bounces off of this rebound level, this 395. So it was down on nothing. It was looked like it was just profit taking. I think that's all it was. But we closed at 32s. I'm looking over here and just sort of saying we're not doing anything. We're just slightly moving up here in spot. I do feel like you might get some resistance if you're watching this SOS, which is following Coinbase, not Coinbase, which is following BTC. If you get to that 430 area, you might have a bit of a rollover. I usually express short trades in SOS in particular. That could be the case coming into play. And of course, Fisker is going to take out the high, naturally.
Fisker's a beast, man. We're loving Fisker. We just got some out there at 60. It's my number one stock, so we'll hit the air horn to celebrate that. I just wish I was got off that CCL, man. It's going to take out the highs, and we're going to get stopped out again. Damn it. That's like the only one trade that if I could have everything back, it would be CCL. We just wouldn't short it, but we did hit it huge opening, but we've struggled since on that name. Brendan at the big screen. Give it to us, bud.
Hey guys, yeah, 10 o'clock. Let's have a look at North American markets, see where things are at this point. Nicely into positive territory here for the S&P, 0.3%. You can see the Dow leading so far today, 0.45%. The NASDAQ here trying, but still kind of lagging everything else. To the downside are tech stocks. The Russell back in positive territory, 0.13%. We have the TSX here in Toronto, about 0.4%. Couple of things we were talking about in the pre-market. This one, NCLH, yeah, what a move. On volume as well. Look at the volume down here. Buyers coming in to some of these cruise lines. 27 held here just before the open, up to 28.5. Goldman Sachs with the upgrade. Everyone listens to, I guess, what Goldman says. Apple, the other one, after the event yesterday. Not a heck of a lot of movement here. There was initial selling. We're right back into the range, though, for Apple. Guys, back over to you.
Yeah, Apple and range. You talk about range bound. I mean, that's what Coinbase has turned into after what all kinds of activity in the morning, long, take the hit, short. We're able to get the short. I mean, like a minute after we're stopped out, we're able to get the short back at 310, and then they get the flush. I wish I'd got the bottom at 302, but I was actually looking to go long, so I got out early. Did not get that reversal. Certainly could have built into that position. Now I'm sort of thinking if it breaks in either direction, and it feels like it's going to be the downside, that's at least temporarily, I would say. If that's going to be it, we're going to have to take a quick little shot at it. I'll go back to Fisker just for a quick second here, because we did take some more shares out as it just took out that high of day. I want to show you the higher time frame so you guys can see. Yesterday's move, similar break. It stalled out right here at that 1460 area. I kind of felt if it went halfway, it'd be a good profit. So 14 even is kind of that next line in the sand where once it breaks, once it gets past like the quarters, 3 quarters, I should say, I want the rest out in front of 14. Call it 85 to 95.
This move on Palantir is just basically epic here. We're holding a little bit of shares just to watch this thing, but this is a nice move up on Palantir. Like, super happy as a shareholder, but today we got roasted on it. So just looking here to try to find some more. We talked about a higher time frame here, 2250. Wow, Palantir just rocking today. it does pull back, man. It pulls back all of the time. So trust me, I know that because we get caught sometimes in said pullback. So we just took out Fisker there, 1367 for a 60-cent win. So that's worth a confetti shot there. But you know, I don't know. Like, is this the time? Did we put on the short now ahead of 2230? I really want to see some kind of a rollover start to happen here. It almost did it right there. That's like that doji star, but then it just refused it, and now it's going back to the upside. I don't know, man. Where is the bottom of this candle? 16, 17. Okay, let's take a break there. Then, if we could break down below 16, we'll go short on Palantir and see if we can't make it back and give it to that 25 level.
Oh, and there goes Pins. Bit of a miss here. We talked about this one. Well, they did have that extension of a partnership, already existing partnership with Shop there. It does break that 72.25. You get yesterday's, call it afternoon top after that flush. If it comes back to that price, I'm going to have to like it here on a bit of a dip buy. I can tell you, look, Fisker is going to continue to run. We're going to have that one. If it makes that break, if it comes back down to 1330, I think it is going to be worth a bit of a dip as well. So averaging back into the shares that we've taken off. As far as ATHE goes, this is my 15-minute just so you can see how far it's run. Every time it comes up to that 145, I want to be taking some more shares, but I am now noting, where's my level 2? Of course it doesn't flip. There is 150,000 shares. It's like a single bid up here. That is at least worth holding off, at least for the time being. There was a bit of a big bid. I'll let it push it up a couple cents and then try to get in. So just being patient because I saw a bit of a bid pushing it up. So I'm not going to average in until I see that get worked out. Brendan?
The market liking another Chamath stock today, guys. I was just double checking the short interest on this one. I see 5% for Open Door. Open Door is up about 3.5% on decent volume here today. It just broke 17 coming back in. Not seeing headlines surrounding this, but definitely higher on the relative volume scale today, guys.
Yeah, okay, so I just saw news about Grubhub as well. There's something about DoorDash, or no, it's Just Eat could be lifting their offer. Apparently there was some sort of an offer here for Grubhub. I don't know too much about it, but you're gonna look at Grubhub right now down that 3%. I guess the news comes, it was cruising 71. Now it looks like it just ticked down to 69. Not much, well, I mean, the volume's okay, but not much action right now on Grub. I thought it would have been more based on that kind of a news, but it does not look like that is the case there on Grub. So, you know, watch out for that stock. You just talked about Open Door. That's a good one. We can check out IPOE's, another name here. Chamath backed. I don't know if he's still backing out all of these names, but IPOE hasn't even turned yet. So we'll wait to see 1550. Yeah, I mean, a lot of SPAC love today. IPOE, Brendan, up 4% as well. Wonder what the news is there. But you could see some of these SPACs have just gotten absolutely, like, I was going to say shit canned. Am I allowed to say that too late?
Yeah,
down to 15 now. And I mean, a lot of this, you can look at basically any SPAC that's been recent in the last 6 months or so. Going to be hard to find winners. That's why we look at Fisker, because of the news and some of the reports around Fisker that we like. So IPOE also making a nice little run here. And again, like, if you could take out, I think we're still a little bit away, but if you could take out to 16 level, might be upside on some of these SPACs. So maybe we are turning the corner now.
So I want to come back to a name because Brendan did mention 22nd Century. Fantastic. Look, it was a good news story when you talk about the new possible regulation coming into the nicotine cigarette market, and of course these guys stand to benefit from any potential developments there. But there was a $4 level. We tracked this one off of the afternoon show when the news came out, and the following day we were able to make some money on this name. And it was basically based off of this $4 level almost every single time. There was a 375 I was shorting in front of. Now I see us right back here on what looks like a bit of a failed break through the top. So you get this 97 break, breaks through 4, goes to 404. You know I'm a believer in the fail breakout trade, so you stick to what works. Once we're back down, I like to short the consolidation here. So I'll pick some up if I can, like 97s, 98s, that kind of a thing. I did get more shares into HEHE, so I kind of showed you guys a look at the level 2. And you know, when you're trading like essentially a penny stock, let's call it that because it's $1.40, and I just saw that bid, and I was going to short again at like 142, 143, and you see that bid sort of push it up a little bit. I'll let that go, wait till like 44s to get back in. I can be patient with this because I'm sort of willing to work into this one, ATHE, after it's shown itself that it wanted to push back to the downside. So I kind of feel like it doesn't have that move in it to the high of the day, but I like this to about 150. I'm going to try to get some shares in 22nd Century here, sort of sitting on the offer. I might get a little bit impatient at least if it can't get past that, 4 again. It's going to be a good look, I think, on 22nd Century.
Yeah, good look there. I think 22nd Century has a chance there. We've talked about that over and over again on there from Philip Morris and some of the love there back on that name. So you can obviously watch out for XXII. I love the name. Okay, so Palantir, we have a decent position on now. We'll wait to see. This is going to be a short that hopefully we can get paid off, and we'll see. I don't. Again, I normally long this name, but we'll go short now. We see this as a couple tops now. So hopefully this Palantir short does come in. We're up that 1.7. I don't know why. We saw Kathy Wood buying last night, but she buys every day, it seems like. So I don't know if that sparked this move here, but speechless, basically. You don't hear that too often. But right now, we'll wait to see what happens in Palantir. I don't mind getting some out, man, if we can come back into this. Like, I'm short 07, that's my average price, but I don't mind getting some out if we come back into this like 05, 06, and just kind of like lick the wounds a little bit with Palantir. And then if we do get a 22 break, then we'll look to see what happens back at VWAP and then 21.95. But I'll be on the stock, so definitely there's no miss there. We saw Coinbase again, man. We had again a $4 winner that we didn't take. Like, how easy is this short, man? Like 313, 314. It's so easy, I'm not taking it. That's how crazy it is. And I should have got out. But every time it comes up here, I'm thinking like, oh my God, this just ran from like 311 to 314. It's going to break and then go to 318. So that's the play that I'm waiting to happen. Don't know if it does. I'm willing to lose on this position now. We've been $4 in the money on it, and I haven't taken it. And I'm not going to hold this $4 back. We're going to get out if it breaks 310. So Coinbase right now, I'm loving the trade, but not loving this top. So let's see if it breaks above. Like, it needs to get above basically 314 and a quarter. If it does that, then I think we're cashed to 318, guys.
So here's a bit of a dip. Fisker didn't quite get to the 80s. Even I kind of said I'll wait till the 80s and maybe that 95 range to take some out there. To take some more out, I should say. If it comes back in, there was a slight pullback at 40s. We like that 1330 area. If it dips back into the 40s, I think the midpoint of that, 1350 to 1330, obviously, that's where I'd like to see if we can't get some more shares in. So kind of park something down there, just on the off chance that we can get it. I mean, Coinbase is frustrating. Piss or get off the pot is kind of what I'm thinking here. 310 is like, the more it bases out in this range, I guess it makes the breakout a little bit better, but sort of ignore these wicks. It is holding the line at 310 and then 314. I like 315 a bit better, but because it's a round number for a breakout, but 310 is just going to sit there for me. If it breaks 15 first, I will cancel my 310 short side trade. I don't like getting into those when they're a little bit too far away. I can tell you, 22nd Century is still holding out here. We got 98, and it's basically holding out 97, 98, 99. Hasn't really made its move yet, but it might be stalling at the top is what I'm getting at. And of course, Digital Ally doing absolutely nothing. That's kind of a sleeper for me. Although I think the airs come out of that as well. Brendan?
Dish Network, a name we don't really talk about a lot on the show, but it can give you some moves. Just saw this headline. Amazon Web Services and Dish Network teaming up for their preferred cloud provider. They're also doing some 5G network work in Las Vegas, apparently. So, yeah, Dish, guys, up almost 5%.
All right. Shout out to Vegas. Hopefully we can go back there at some point. Loves me some Vegas. Okay, ATHE, getting it out for flat now. I mean, we were able to put some money in our pocket early on that name. We've averaged in. We took some out there at 44. It got as high as 46 there. I don't think it really touched 47. But if that can happen, then we will get more out, obviously, of ATHE. It looks like it probably wants to retest back down here, but that's a name that I'm holding, so might as well talk about it. We are out. We're holding now 5% or less on Fisker. This was a beautiful, like, most of our outs are right around here. There's, for sure. Not most of them. We did take an out there. And then these were good outs all the way up. So nicely taken here on Fisker. We talked about it holding that 40 level, that 13 level. Now we're trying to hold 40s on the bid rate where VWAP is. So I still have hope for Fisker. Hopefully that continues to run in the money. Coinbase making that dance again. I know Neil just talked about that, but that's another name that I want to look at for possibility of that 314 break. Whatever. Mr. Softy, one of my favorite names to trade, bounces off 260 here a couple times. Well, I mean the high side of 260, the low side of 260, 259.70, but a great little move to the bottom as well. So up that $2 on this NASDAQ move. And again, I'm not sure if the NASDAQ wants to break this level or not. So we're going to wait to see here if it does take out the high of 13,800 right now. And if that happens, then yeah, obviously we like Softy to the long side. Palantir, man, still blowing up. Like, it looks like it wants to take now out this 30 level. I don't even know what to do. Normally we'd be long and cashing in. Today we give some of our profits back from yesterday on Palantir, as it looks like it's going to take out 30 now, guys.
Yeah, and just gonna have a quick look here. I heard you guys on ABML, but also going to be watching over in DJ. I just said that Digital Ally had run out of steam, and now it's testing that 165, 175 area. This is where I like it. Now, it's short sell restricted, so it's SSR, so it has that 10% to the downside, which means you have to wait for an uptick, which is why I'm not really getting anything into this on the way down. But as it comes back up, that's basically your safe way, your more reliable way to be able to get shares. So I didn't take anything on that consolidation. It busts higher, then I'm able to get some in front of that 175 for the first time. So maybe it's got a second leg to it. I'm short average price of 70s here. ATHE is not really moving, but the other name, and we'll go right back to it, is 22nd Century. I keep wanting to call this XXII, but it's got a fantastic name to it. Still consolidating here. It just broke that 4 again. So if I'm going to take this tight consolidation trade, I immediately trimmed it because I took a few more shares than I wanted, and then got out when 4 breaks. Again, this is positive news, and it's potentially material. So it's not one of those, is it you have some random phase 1 or some publication that sort of comes out and it's like a pump and dump. No, I mean 22nd Century is a legitimate company with solid potential growth. So as much as I like fading off that level, and 4 has been good to me, I'm not going to fight this one too hard. I don't immediately expect it's just going to fall to earth, come back down to 320. There is a decent chance that this is going to be a legitimate move. It hasn't really held through 4 just yet, and I need to see it do that before I'm actually willing to go long above that price. But it's getting kind of close to me flipping the script and thinking it's going to be a long trade on 22nd Century. I just covered for essentially a 3-cent loss, which is a tight stop. I was giving it more before, but that was yesterday and the day before. Today's a new day, and it's looking pretty strong. Brennan?
For anyone watching Tesla today, there was a comment there from Chinese market regulators talking about quality insurance for Tesla products in China. There wasn't much of a reaction. It is negative anyways on the day. It did spike down to 700 though. Bounced off 700 once again for Tesla, guys.
Oh man, yeah, we missed that trade. We actually, one trade that we haven't looked at today either was NEO. So Palantir, come on, man, we just shorted some 28s. I just want this thing to come back to life a little bit here and to the downside, but that's Palantir for you. NIO, not JNIO, NIO here on the NASDAQ. Just because you talked about Tesla, I will look at Tesla in a minute. I know Neil has some thoughts about Tesla as well. 37.20 there. Again, the typical, and I have to go back to it, man. There's so many stocks that I'm missing today and every day basically, which is fine. But we normally play this move. If you see what NEO did off the open, one way, then the other, bases out, and then takes off. It does this all the time, whether or not it bases out on the high side early or on the low side. But you can always take these plays. And this is the thing. If you take this break at 36.37 there, I have to watch my trades here as I'm talking about other names. I have 5-6 positions on. 36.40 here, that break, look, it gives you a downside of 25 cents. But look at the upside, $1 to the upside. So these are the plays you got to look at here on NEO. I got to get back to that. I'm putting it on my list. I'm going to make a note of it right now on the unwritten sticky note for tomorrow to make sure we look at NIO, because that play, man, that used to be the cash money play for me, and I missed it here today, and I'm not happy.
Yeah, there was you talk about cash money plays. There was a wipeout off the open on sundown, and then it made a bit of a bottom. Now, when Greg came on, I'll tell you right now, there was that big sell-off in all of the cannabis names, and I had a piece of it in the leverage buyout, that fire, which is being bought by CGC. So I was involved in that as well to the downside. And sundial, which I'm usually shorting, I'm going to hold off here because I kind of feel like you got to play at least a little bit of patience. I was in and out of it one time in the pre-market here before realizing I don't know that I didn't want to dig in. It was a long, and I didn't want to dig into a long in the pre-market in sundial, even though it looks like it is rebounding. I'm going to wait until it retest this 93 to 95 area where there was a slight pullback. That was an area on the short in yesterday's show that was of some concern there, and I was trying to average into it at that particular price. So if it gets to there, then I'm going to think about getting into it to the short side. I'm not going to fight against this too hard below $1. $1 is usually the best short you can get on it. ATHE, I still haven't taken any profit on it yet. I was able to get more shares at 45, but forget about the 15-minute chart on a penny stock. I was able to get more at 45, but until it retakes that 40 level to the downside, that's when I want to get out. I feel like there's always that even dollar, some stops will break, and once again, it's like, this doesn't flip for me, of course. Once again, it's the same thing. You just have these 100,000 share orders plopping all over the place. In this case, it happens to be my favorite. I don't care too much about that. When you're reading level 2, it needs to be overwhelming on a stock. It's going to do 45 million shares by 10:15 and likely to do possibly hundreds of millions of shares today. So, orders like that get filled all the time. I really don't care too much about it. I want the break of 40. I want it heading down towards the low of the day before I'm taking anything off.
You may have heard some of that ovation, and it was myself giving myself a clap because finally there, Palantir now wants to come back down. So guess what, man? We're out of a third there. I mean, I couldn't believe that it rapidly came in there. It just tanked. I sat some at 20 because I was like, oh my God, this is good. We'll take it. And then crash. Right down, crash. A crash would be, a little bit lower, but crashed into 13s. And again, it's Neil's line, but if that's not a gift horse right there, I was not, this is the largest move down. We had a very similar move here that we thought we had that move as well, back to VWAP, and then it busted up. So when we saw that, man, I should have taken out more than a third, but the NASDAQ kind of came off there. So I was wondering, maybe we did have a move back down in the market, which would have triggered Palantir again, like I said, to the downside there, but that was a beautiful crash. So I keep calling it crash, but a beautiful move down. It was only 20 cents, but again, here it comes to 13. For some reason, it basically stopped at 13. So we do have 09s there. I do have some lower bids, but right now, Palantir putting me back and alive again. So we were never dead, but putting this trade back alive. We'll see if we can hold it a little bit anyways, back to 22 even. I'll try to hold half of this trade, as now it looks like it's working back in. The only bid I have out right now is right where I said, 22.03. So we have some bids in front of 22. I'm going to put another one, like maybe 10s, because it looks like it's strong. But if we get a dip back down here, I'm going to see what happens with a small cap recap in a minute with Brendan. But 22.10, I'm going to put another bid, and then we wait for 22 evens, guys. But Palantir right now crashing just how we like it. Small cap recap time with Brendan. Let's see what names we maybe missed.
Hey guys, yeah, pretty quiet in small cap world once again. Today we'll talk about a few that we are looking at in the pre-market. I want to start off with OCGN, talk about the daily chart a little bit. If you have a look at the range of the candles in this kind of consolidation that this thing's been in on the daily chart, there's really been not much as far as opportunity is concerned. Yes, we're up today on decent volume. It's worth saying relative volume-wise, definitely higher than usual for OCGN. 660, I was looking at 680, which is the top up here from the pre-market. I'm trying to be patient with these things, but they're so slow today, just giving it as much room as I possibly can. ATHE, same thing, it broke to the downside, 158. See if we can get back to 130 maybe at some point today, where that thing was trading yesterday. And then NNDM, I mentioned right before the open, 720, which is the top of the consolidation. I'm not going to do anything with this until 740, which is that level from yesterday afternoon, guys. Otherwise, pretty quiet so far in small cap world. Back over to you.
Yeah, you can say that again. The Coinbase does break that 310, if so very briefly.
Oh, yeah.
You see it sort of break to the downside, immediately recovers. I want to see if this move can actually get some extensions through.
Yeah.
I like that scalp trade on the first little bit. And look, is it going to go all the way down to like 300? I kind of feel like that's a little bit unlikely given the rebound that the market overall is having. But if we can get in that 307 to 308 range, I'm definitely going to like it as well. The ATHE finally broke the even, so I'm going to start taking it out. I needed it to break that 140 before I took any profit on it. So it looks like it's going to start doing that.
Oh yeah, Palantir, I see it here right now at 22.17, so we'll see there. We did take a little bit more out there as it coming back up, so it doesn't want to enjoy this NASDAQ move to the downside. Oh well, we'll just take the winner that we had there on Palantir and see if it doesn't want to give us a little bit more. But look at that move right back up. Like those of you that say like maybe I trade too fast or don't hold things long enough, agreed on some extent, but like when you're trading different names that you're pretty comfortable with and you've been watching them all day and you've taken a beating short, and then all of a sudden this happens, that's an opportunity to get out. So we take that opportunity right now to get out of that name, and very, 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 very happy that we did, because again, I'd be pissed off if I was sitting here and I did not take anything out, because it was also a consolidation point down here where we've dipped down like 5 or 6 times. So that's why, man, you hit the keys rapidly and you get out there and just save yourself a little bit of coin, because here it goes. Like, look at this. It reloads itself down here. If anything, I should have got them all out and then, gone long. but the NASDAQ also holds. So that's like a two-shotter there. And there we go. We get out of Palantir, breaking through 30. I'm done with this name now for the short anyways. We'll see if we can get another short on at some point, but right now it looks like Palantir to the long side is what's going to be the winner today, not to the short side.
Yeah, and immediately when I get a breakdown trade, I should say, because it's not a breakout at 310, it doesn't go on Coinbase. I take off a bunch of it at 310.60 area. Now I'm going to give the rest of it about to like that 312 area. I did say I was taking that ATH out, starting that little move. As it tests the low of the day, I have to make sure this came from $1.25, so it gives you an obvious area to come all the way back into. It was legitimate positive news here. So I do feel like I have to get some in front of the 30s, and then again in front of the 35s, and then again in front of the 30s, and then again in front of that 125. I expect to be flat. If it makes a push and gives back from 150 to 125, if you're not happy with a return like that when you're trading penny stocks, as I say, you are in the wrong game. So I'm going to get those bids out there because I want to make sure that I can trade some other names this works in the money for me. And then if it has one of those like capitulation flushes or anything like that, I do have my bids out on the way to the downside. I can tell you Coinbase, if it's a breakout trade, I'm always looking for that initial move. When it tried to get past that 309, that first little flush down goes up at $1. If it then makes that next move down, I'm taking it out when those stops have triggered. Anyone that was holding through that 310, when 310 broke, when it breaks 309, a lot of times I'll take it out. That first move is when I'm trying to get some shares out. It doesn't happen, so I immediately get back out. It's close to flat on the trade. I can hold the rest as a directional play here, but if it gets past and like this 312 area and holds a bit above that price, which it's not doing just yet. I don't know why this keeps not flipping for me. But if it doesn't yet, you see the bid is not going back above 312. You're sort of getting into the offer. The spread opens up. That means it's not really trying to push through. Once that happens, I'm looking to get out of the trade, and that's what we see here. So Coinbase, ho-hum. We're going to have to try to take this one out for the hit. I'll be flat overall in this stock. So we had muted success. One short worked. The second, no mas Coinbase. It should only go the way that I hold it in the long-term account. No. You don't trade your own book. You got to trade the price action. So even though I like the long in Coinbase and I want it to go up, I'm shorting it here in this market as it's been weak the last couple of days.
Oh, you got a piece of Coinbase there in the long-term account?
Twice.
Nice, good. Yeah. I'm trying to buy some more Coinbase as well at some point. Wouldn't mind getting some of these prices. There goes Palantir. So you can see we did switch long, but we didn't switch long that many shares. So here we go. We're long at 31. I might just get this out, whatever. A winner's a winner, but still, I'm so impressed with Palantir. Like normally you don't see me in this mood with Palantir, but yeah, today, man, big time mover. We're happy. My last buy is 21.87. We talk about that all the time on the show. So we were underwater beginning of the day, and then now above water, and we can breathe again. So that's a good one here for Palantir. But the thing is, like, I don't know, 22.50. That was a level that we talked about with Palantir right here. 22, yeah, it's right here, 22.50, 22.51. Again, like I would love that level to take it out. So we'll see about that. The 200 period moving average is at 22.67. So what a good move here today for Palantir. Like I can't remember the last time it went like this, like tick, 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 all the way up. We had a big run here back on the 13th, which is about a week ago. So yeah, nice to see Palantir continue to tick upside. We have a 13-cent winner long now, but it's nowhere near the shares that we would want. So can't really say too much about that trade. Other than that, man, Fisker continuing to bounce around a little bit. Good opportunity to get longer at VWAP there. Good spot. Check in on BTC or ETH. Let's check on ETH because it's more near its highs. The reason why we this is a 1 minute. We'll go to a 1 hour just so you guys can maybe see. Where are we there? There we are. This is the all-time high just made on April 15th of 25.48. So we're not too far away from that at all. Unlike Bitcoin, which is a little bit further away. It just depends, man. Like I think you have to hold both. I'm stronger in Ethereum than I am in Bitcoin. But if we drop this down to a 1 hour mark as well, you're going to see where. Okay, there it is. You're going to see where Bitcoin's high was 65,000, so 64.9. That's down to 55, so that's given itself a little bit of leg room to the downside as well. Bouncing off this 54 a couple times. The bottom 53. So, I think a load up spot there, 53 and change on Bitcoin is something to watch out for. And then again, a 58 break. I'm going longer on that as well. I already have an order on my account to go long through 58. So if we get a Bitcoin break through 58, I do think we do retest highs in the next little while. But it's too hard to make like predictions on where Bitcoin's going. I mean, Some people say 100 grand, some people say 300, some people say back down to 10. So I think you just trade the momentum there. If you break above 58, you can hold that. My plan is you take a 58 and you get out if it breaks back down below 50. I mean, you could trade this very, very technically now with Bitcoin as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who just said in the chat that the BlackBerry's about to halt. I mean, no, it's not. It is up on the day. It's up a couple of percent, but no, we got the whole page up, and I mean, I'm watching it here, only up 2%. It is a bit of a move, but it's not entirely crazy. Let's look at the daily chart here. So I'm not really seeing anything. It's too nuts. And look, if it gets past 850, I think you sort of broken out of the bottom end of the range here off that $8. So let's see if we can actually get there before we get too crazy about BlackBerry. I think whoever it was, I'm sure you were just kidding at least a little bit about BlackBerry halting, probably trying to get our attention. But I do monitor that page just to make sure something that I am interested in doesn't halt on me there. Now, Fisker, I'm still holding that little dip buy, of course. We were buying it on the way to 13. That's great. It sort of makes that top end move. And getting the long and trying to hold it as it tries to push through to some of yesterday's levels. I did buy the dip, and on the 15th, it's not going to be as clean. I did buy the dip off of VWAP and then scalped some up to 60s. I'll try to do the same thing again, but instead of getting 40s, I'll probably try to get 35s the next time. I have yet to take a single share off of Digital Ally. Every time it pops up to 175, I kind of get more shares in. Any of the profit I'm taking is at 163, 162. Okay, so there's a thing that I like to say, which is, and Sean knows all about this, I try not to look a gift horse in the mouth. It keeps popping down to like this level here where there's kind of an infinite, not an infinite buyer, but there's obviously a buyer down at 167. I should be willing to take some shares off. So next time, if it gets down here and try to get a fill at that 167, I'll pay to be able to get it, just to make sure I don't pay that spread. And then every time it pops back up to 173, 174, I'll get back into shares. I haven't been adding aggressively up there because I haven't been taking anything off. So gonna have to start working this position. I know it's not doing much of anything, but it's under pressure today, down 13%. I feel like at some point it might actually flush. ATHE is the other one. I feel like it's only headed downside now, so I got some shares out in that 38, 39. As it continues to fall further, my bids are all ready to go there as well.
Another name that we haven't really done too much work with lately, first of all, Coinbase just ripping right now. And we talked about that. I can't believe we got out at that 310 level, up to 360. I told you if it breaks that 314, man, where we were going, and that's exactly where it's going. Peloton down 3.5%. We saw that ugly video there of the child getting swooped underneath the treadmill. Bad news there. Peloton continues to get hit, down another 3 and a bit. What up, Beep?
One from China, Chinese fintech just popping up here. I was noticing this is actually a decent sized company. 18.5 billion in market cap for Futu, F-U-T-U. To the downside today. It was doing some volume, though, coming back up through 130 there. So big levels coming into play here on the daily chart as well for FUTU, guys.
Yeah, FUTU to you, too.
Mr. Swamp Donkey, QuantumScape, it made that bet, it made a move off of 30. So it finally tests the 30. You see the double top. This was the hold that we've been waiting to see. It tried to get off this level yesterday, right? And quite frankly, I'd say that it did. I mean, it got to 31 bucks. This time, it looks like it's done it. So I've only been thinking about shorts on QuantumScape, mostly shorting pops and that kind of thing. I'll take a shot at the day trade long here. If it can hold, it's going to try to dip here off 32. You get that double top. A lot of times I'd short it, but it was that 30 test, lack of a break. I mean, it's a failed break both days in a row at 30. I'll go with it can be a long off of 31 now. So this is a day trade. I'm not going to actually own the stock here outside of buying it temporarily in front of 31. If it comes back down and gives me the dip, any around VWAP, I'll start building a position in QuantumScape. But this is essentially the move I've been waiting for. I know you might have thought that double top, I'm going to short it at 32. Not when it did this move yesterday, and not when it's made a double bottom off of 30, and the market's trying to hold up. Brendan?
Just working my way through some of the volume leaders today. Relative volume on this one as well. Here, which is Turtle Beach, they make sound cards, audio devices for computers, mainly popped up aftermarket. I just checked May 5th. They will report earnings, but back into the middle of the range here on the daily chart, but up nicely for Turtle Beach today. It's 10:30, guys. That means there's 1 hour left in the trading session for European markets. Let's get a check on those from Miss V.
Hey, Brandon, European markets are back to the positive territory on optimism around a strong earnings season. Heineken trading in Netherlands is up 5% after posting a better than expected quarterly sales. Back to you.
I haven't yet, but maybe we should look at TAPS, guys, coming off of Heineken positive earnings.
Yeah, exactly. Molson Coors there with taps. Let's just have a look at Mara, as right now crypto is booming. So you're going to see Mara right now go. This is what we're talking about. There goes ETHE. Well, let's do a 1 minute chart here. This is Ether, of course. Okay, where is it? Let's just show you the move right now. Taking this out to 2,400. So it's going to test 2,400 right now. So you're going to watch Mara here on the side. I know Mara is more a BTC play, but you can watch Riot. You can watch that ETHEE right now, or ETHH, the Purpose ETF. But there we go. Right now, Ether taking out the high right now of 2,400. So congratulations, anybody that's been on any of those names. ETHH, I believe it is, Brendo.
Yes, it is. ETHH. Well,
yeah, I know it's in
ETHB.
Toronto. .B, right?
Yeah,
ETHH.B in Toronto. If you do have an opportunity to use some Canadian funds, this is a great one to trade, as it is basically following. You could see this move 1076 all the way to the upside. It was just listed, so no daily chart. But if you did want to get Ether in a registered account, you could do it right here. .B or .U, depending on your currency, guys.
Yeah, exactly. And I talked a little bit about Pinterest. It dips one time to that pre-breakout price, fails at the high, that 72.80 or so again. So you get a bit of a fail break look on pins. Now, again, there was a bit of a news story with them extending a partnership. Not a new deal, not a new deal at all with Shopify. So we'll say that again. But I do feel like it's still a little bit bullish here. I want to be able to test this one to that long, but I did miss. And again, the spread has opened up a couple of times here. When it dipped down to 25s, I tried to catch it. Didn't want to chase. I still am not a huge fan of chasing this, so I might have to actually play a breakout into 73. It's kind of a fade because 73 is a bit of a level as an even dollar. So if you take an 80 long, you're kind of getting in before that. I'd much prefer to catch a defense off of VWAP the same way with QuantumScape, only I actually like Pinterest as a stock, so it would be like a little bit more of a, I guess, confident play there, whereas it's pure price action on QuantumScape. Pure momentum is what I would say on QuantumScape. If this one dips down and wants to give me a shot at 72, I will take Pinterest to the long side. ATHE, I kept saying we're going to hang on to this one all morning long. It's now that 138 where I got out. This has now become like this weird little floor level here. I am bidding below it, so if it continues to flush, we'll keep getting shares out, but it looks like it's running out of steam on this move down, and I'm still willing to sell into 150. I kind of feel like that could be upcoming. That's why I bring it up.
Yep, exactly. I agree with you there. Lots of selling coming through, but I mean, some of these names, like I got to give a shout out. I see you, Daryl, there. Thanks for checking. Someone asked about if he uses social media. He says he checks the sticky note and his own notes, and that's about it. I agree, man. I don't follow anybody on social media, any of their plays or anything like that. I think it's so important that you build your own confidence and build your own levels and understand why you're trading something, and that way it makes it so much easier to build your own watch lists, because you want to watch stock that you're comfortable trading. And Daryl, man, like I screwed up this CCL like crazy today, going short. This was good, man. Like we paid ourselves off. We were up quite nicely right off the open. We shorted that 79. We got out there. 25 was the bottom. We took most of our shares out all through here. You could see like crazy. But then I don't know what happened, man. Up 4% right now, CCL. I'm holding a small piece just to watch it, but this stock, like I got to apologize because I've just been short this name. Daryl, let me know on the chat like what you think about CCL here. Are we still going to be going long on this name? Because like, we're pretty much like, at this 50 period, it's come off 31. I don't know, man. I don't like the CDC. There's some of their stances that they've taken here, but we see Norwegian up today and we see CCL up today. So I don't really have any levels. I was sort of thinking that if we broke back down below this 26.50, I would short it, but we're just going to have to wait on CCL as it doesn't look like it wants to do anything but go upside.
I just noting at ABML. I see you guys talking about it and hitting big levels up. ABML absolutely running over in the OTC markets. And we did have Jeff on here.
ABML?
Jeff Mendel from OTC markets, a good friend of the show, and he talks about this all the time. And look, some people you might have access to it. Of course, we can trade here. But yeah, it is absolutely moving. It's on my radar. I wasn't watching it before, but I'll take a quick look at it if it does continue to make this bit of a move here. It's up like 30% and showing no signs of slowing down. I am involved in a couple of other names here, and one of them is starting to pick up a little bit of steam. So I talked about that Digital Ally. If it makes that bounce, remember it's at 167. Couldn't get any shares there. I'm sitting on the bid. It runs away, but I am willing to take a few more. If it wants to give me 73, 74s, that's where I like to have that short in front of. Otherwise, we'll just sort of sit pretty and wait around for it. Bit of a move happening on Coinbase into that 318 level. Looks like it is testing to the upside, so I think that's going to be the next shoe that drops. I, of course, had the short in and out, short in and out. You can try to have the tight stops if you can. Now it looks like it's trying to take the top off. Now, there was all kinds of consolidation, like 17, 18, and then that flush into the open. So this is a good little breakout price for Coinbase. I don't like 320s. I'd probably wait for a dip back into 310. I think that's going to be the defense that you can put on. It feels like that was a capitulation, last break, 300 held. We could be trying to finally go back to the upside.
Yeah, so, okay, about a few things here. Like, the first thing, you talked about Coinbase. This is like unbelievable that we get stopped out here. I was loving Coinbase, guys, long, and I talked about this. If you break 314, the next stop was 318. Like, I'd love to have this tick right there because that's what we called, but unfortunately, the discipline doesn't let me stay in this, and it does break that 310 again, and we get out. And sometimes, you know, being that disciplined trader that I claim to be anyways, doesn't let me hold that, and that's something that I need to work on again. But we're doing quite well now. As you can see here, ETHE broke upside. We traded a little bit of that. These Ether made a nice little bottom there. We took the trade now to the long side, so that's working out for us nicely. This ATHE isn't doing anything, so we got to wait to see where that one wants to go. Fisker's not doing too much. I didn't see if Daryl mentioned anything about CCL. I'll have a look there quickly if there is anything on there. And then just to look at AMC, guys, like yesterday, we talked about some AMC levels that we like to the downside, and it looks like right now, AMC, that $9 level, pretty cash, man. You're up to that 250 again today. We talked about holding 9 yesterday, and that's exactly what it did. So it did hold that $9 yesterday. Nice little move upside to 950 today. Congratulations, anybody on AMC. What up, Beep?
Hey guys, yeah, sector watch time. Let's have a look at the S&P. We are positive now, 0.3%. A little bit deceiving as far as the board goes. Once again, yes, there are a lot of things positive, but the overall moves in the market pretty muted. As far as action is concerned, you can see widespread buying though, right across the board, the entire thing. Pretty positive. Let's start over here. Netflix leading the way for communication services, 7.9% to the downside. Right beside it though, Dish, guys, 5.25% now in positive territory. I mentioned right out of the gate this morning, Dish and can't remember who it was, but they were teaming up with some work on in Las Vegas. So nice day for Dish at this point. ATVI, Twitter is here. ViaC is here. Discovery, Google, all to the downside. TTWO, Facebook here as well, 1.5% to the downside. So this group actually negative outside of Dish, really. Material stocks also in positive territory. I did note that UBS came out with a negative note on the copper play right now. So FCX was struggling slightly, Freeport, because they were pointing to the lack of Chinese participation in that note. Real estate stocks down there also positive, but consumer discretionary, tech, healthcare, industrials, pick one. They're all doing quite nicely today, but not huge moves. As I mentioned, the semiconductors standing out as among the leaders here. 2% for AMD, KLAC, AMAT, LRCX, to name a few, all in positive territory. BWA, APTV, and Ford here leading for. I was trying to find, oh, there's Tesla. Yeah, Tesla a little bit negative, but automotive names also in positive territory. Transportation and capital goods in the industrial group leading the way. But overall, just 0.3% for the market, guys. Back over to you.
I said I was going to be patient over here in Sundial, and then it finally makes a push right into like 90. It rolls over and fails. I see it start to go, off of this 88 area. So I'm like, okay, I want to get in. I throw like an 87 in fractions here on the offer and try to get short. Of course, it starts at a little bit of a pullback. I'm not going to chase here. I mean, if I'm playing off of the 90 area, I'm going to wait for it to come back to me here. It's still an upward trend. There's a chance I can get some, but chasing the stock has gotten me into trouble before. If I kind of believe in it, I should give it some room to run and run back into me. I guess I should say into that little upside. The Fisker's slowed down a little bit, but I don't think it's necessarily done. I said I got 40s in the dip last time, that I would wait for like the 30s. That was a bit of a mistake because it bounced right off VWAP at 40 even. So if it's going to have to be the low 40s, then that's going to have to play with. I'll throw a bid in here in front of VWAP to try and get some more shares back in. As far as QuantumScape goes, dip buy? Yeah, whatever. I guess that's not happening, as I say with a bit of a chuckle. So this one's a bit off to the races here. I would have much preferred to pick this one up on a dip. Especially, I'm not buying highs on QuantumScape. I just feel like it's entirely too volatile to do that. I need to have a support that I feel comfortable with. I don't see anything here just yet. Coinbase continues that run. Now, I feel like we felt like it was maybe that capitulation bottom, like you try a couple of breakout shorts, doesn't go. Short off 315, doesn't go. Breaks the high, but I like 320. I like those evens a heck of a lot more than breaking this chop. I am now going to be buying dips in this name. That's the first thing we tried, and then our money was actually made on a short the first time through. We're 1 for 3 on shorts and then 0 for 1 on the longs. I'll try it off of this like 312 to 15 area if it can get back in here. I just feel like the trend has been somewhat broken now on Coinbase here, if I can sort of zoom out, not in. The trend has been somewhat broken. When you get that capitulation flush, you can actually finally make a full recovery to those pre-market levels. It's very close to green on the session. That would be another good sign. Brendo?
One we were looking at a couple days back, IBM just popping up here at day highs. 141.50 for IBM, 2.5% on the day. There was a note I saw regarding new AI capabilities for their Watson computer, but yeah, nice day for IBM, guys.
Yeah, you guys know that I called IBM off earnings, so yeah, we're going to just do a little floss on that one. I'm long IBM, and we'll just continue to set the party on for that one. IBM, a good trade there for sure on that long side. Good one there. Daryl, I saw your note. Thanks, Valeria posted it for me there. Yeah, I mean, this 80 level, I mean, it's coming right back. I'm going to leave CCL alone for now, but yeah, like just defending up there. I mean, on a daily chart, we can look at maybe a 20 period or something like that on this. And again, like, there's the 2680. So there was some areas up there. That's a good little level for sure. So I may short it, but I don't know, man. Just keeps on going. Like it dipped down there, 2658. Maybe a possibility for a short there on CCL. So good look there. We'll see what happens with that trade, but I don't mind it. I may edge into that one. So if you guys do see me there, take some CCL. That's why into that 2680. You got to give it to like maybe 2690 or so if you're going to play that level. So that's something that I'm looking at right now. CCL to the short side. Other than that, man, we don't have too much else. Fisker, as Neil's talked about this a couple times, not really doing anything, actually doing nothing. So we're going to wait on Fisker, just bouncing around. Pick it up, man. 1340. Any low side there on FSR.
Yeah, I'm not saying the move down is over on Peloton, but at the beginning, look, at the beginning of the week, we were talking about this one to the short side and possibly getting to that $100 level where it might find a bit of support. And again, it's not to say that it has to, but you did have this little support on the way up. It was a higher low, just keep in mind, because it did have a test. It's a couple of tests down in the low 90s before. So we're here. You saw QuantumScape bounce off of 30s a couple times, actually breaking that level before it caught that bounce. Now Peloton is trying to put in a low. I mean, I don't know, say whatever you want about their response, and there's a lot of criticism that they've gotten for their response to the accident and not doing like full recalls, all of that. I do feel like it's going to have a little bit of support down here. It's not quite to 100. It's 101.50. That's the current bottom. But if we get another test at 102, I'd like to at least try a long position where I haven't done so all week on Peloton. 100 was what I was waiting for. It looks like we're going to get here. Not going to say right here, right now, but we're getting rather close to it. One name that I know you guys are going to be following, starting to get, it's not like, this isn't the Coinbase chart, it's a Tesla chart. You had this little flush off at like 716. Now 13 to 15 was a price I've been interested this entire time. I always say if you're trading Tesla every day, you might be doing it wrong. You might overtrade. But again, you get a washout sort of sell into a key level like 700, failed break to the downside. This is one of those sort of put up or shut up moments here where if you catch a break off of 720, I kind of feel like this is going to be an up day, and you'd be buying dips, you'd be buying breakouts, that kind of a thing. I don't know that I'm there. I'm getting pretty close to being at that point where it's going to be only longs on Tesla for the rest of the session. We're not quite green. This is so similar looking to Coinbase that I kind of feel like, yeah, we're getting to that precipice here, especially in the market turning. The ES is turned, but the NASDAQ is basically, it's exactly a 0.01 currently. So if it can hold green side, if Tesla can hold that 315 to 350, 313 to 350, or 713 to 715 area, I'm going to be all over the dip buy. I'm going to be trying a 720 break. I might take that one off for like a quick little scalp. Like either it goes and immediately gives you a couple bucks, or you have to get out of it. The dip buys have been better for me, profitability, but I can't ignore 720 when it comes. I'm going to go long. Hopefully get like a 720 to 720, 30, a solid price on that little break. Or I'm just going to have to wait for that dip buy. But I'm turning green side on Tesla for sure. Whereas it felt bearish. Maybe Kathy Wood's buying some more shares. I don't know. She was dumping them for Coinbase. I don't know if she had to sell more to pick up Palantir, but she likes that stock. I like it for the day trade through 720 first.
Yeah, just looking here to see what crypto is doing. It's kind of just fading off that 2,400 right now, but it's still dancing, Ether. So you can watch out for that one on the break side there. I did finally short CCL right here, 70. What was my fill? We can find that out, 72s. So now my average price 68. So that's what I'm talking about. Like I wasn't holding a lot of shares there, so that gives me a nice average price. We'll see if it can come back down now. So I'm going to leave it to 26.90. That happens, we're out. But that's going to be CCL right now for you guys. So we're shorting that name. I like it. I don't mind it. Ford making nice moves up. Palantir back. Oh, wow, Palantir. Okay, I see you, Palantir. Breaks through 50 there. Yeah, creating some beautiful movement to the upside right now. It gets as high as 2260, actually. Valeria, you got another name?
Hey Sean, Playboy is being mentioned on the chat pretty often today. PLBY is up 10.5% right now, guys.
Yeah, Playboy, I mean, the NFT game there. It's funny because I talked about this weeks ago because I remember going to get my kid from university there, and we talked about Playboy, and I was like, this is probably the next NFT name, and I'm trying to remember when that was because he came home about for, oh yeah, well, I guess it was for Easter. So right around here, I guess, April, when was Easter? Early April. So probably around here, 24, 25. It did go up to 45. And again, like it's not about, I like the NFT game. I think there's a lot of things that I'm in Top Shots. We've talked about that. That's more for fun. You can't invest in that. That's the NBA highlight stuff, and it's fun stuff. I've made money doing it, but I just like to look at it. And I don't know. I mean, on the daily chart right now, Playboy is obviously very high. I don't know if there's actually a story, what they're planning on doing, but I think that the NFT side of it makes sense for them. Like even the Sports Illustrated, things like that, like when you have certain moments that people want to capture. And again, it's not, you know, the Playboy magazine and everything, like Hugh Hefner, all that kind of stuff, the mansion, things like that. There's a lot of collectible pieces there. And I think if they could turn that into NFT, then non-fungible tokens, I mean, I think that's fantastic. And then you could own a piece of Playboy, basically. So I like it. I'm going to wait to see if Brendan has like any significant news on Playboy today, but up that 9% seems a little bit high for me. But again, if you're in this name, just watch out. I called Dolphin when it was at 28. I said it would go back to 7 or 8. I think it went to 8 or 9. And I would just say if you're into Playboy, don't hold it past this 45.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and Daryl, shout out there, Topps, MLB as well. I have a friend who's into that. I'm a baseball guy, but I'm not much into the collectibles. I think there's obviously a market for it. I agree with you there, Sean. I just kind of question, where the actual values are going to be. And someone was asking in the chat, like, where do you look for Ethereum if you don't have an account and you're trading on like Coinbase or Binance or something like that? This chart freezes. I was trying to pull up ETHH. So I guess whatever, it's going to freeze. But ETHH, we talked about it a few times here. That's a purpose ETF, and it's here in Canada. But you guys are going to the big screen, topical. We go from a little bit of Ethereum to money in general, which involves crypto. Let's go to Brennan.
Hey guys, yeah, currency time. I want to focus actually on the Canadian dollar. We had a Bank of Canada interest rate decision this morning. This is an hourly chart of the CAD versus the US dollar. It is absolutely ripping at this point. This is 79 at the bottom we tagged right after the initial decision was released. No move on interest rates, but they did increase or speed up their timeline for possible increases. And yeah, what a move for the CAD this morning, guys. We're up a full % on the Canadian dollar, back above 80 cents once again for the CAD versus the USD. So the big winner today for Canadian, or for currencies anyways, the Canadian dollar. Everything else pretty muted. You can see the Turkish lira up as well. Both Australia and New Zealand nicely higher on the day overall. A little bit of US dollar weakness coming through once again. Bitcoin 56 and change here, 1,000. Ethereum though up 5%, as Sean was mentioning, 24.23. Ripple to the downside today, 3%. What a move though for the CAD, guys.
Yeah, I hate that CAD, so I'm going to cry baby it off right now because, of course, we trade in US dollars, but then I put that money into CAD. So if you make $1,000 US, and that's going to be like, it used to be anyways, 1,300 or 1,250 CAD. So, when you're spending CAD, you want it to go down instead of up. But congratulations again. Good number there. I mean, I'm glad our economy seems to be doing better, that they can fool around with interest rates and whatnot. But I don't know, slippery slope, man. Our housing is just so heated right now. I don't think they should be able, I mean, we'll see if they're able to, but I don't think they should touch interest rates because I think people are going to get blown out. But okay,
They can't.
If they do, they do. Get ready. Okay, 2680 right now. We did get that play, guys, and now it's going back to the high side right now, CCL, so you can't stop this thing. We're only going to hold this to 90, so it's going to be a small hit. We weren't really invested in this. We were just trying it through 80. We talked about why we brought that back. 2680 has been a level, so we'll see about holding. I'm going to take another short right here at 80 and then get blown out at 90. So that's going to be the play there. I'm really just upset at CCL and Palantir today, but everything else has been pretty good for us. So no complaints on the day, but overall, man, could have made a lot more money if we just reversed our positions on some of these high flyers.
Yeah, this ATA, you want to talk about barcoding? This is an extreme example of it. Now, it's essentially a penny stock, so it can't be that surprising. So I'm going to get a little more aggressive taking profit out here. The longer it barcodes off of this level, the less likely I am to average into it. If it cannot break the low, I have bids down at that 127 and the 132s as well, thinking you're going to get a bigger flush than we've already had. But the longer this holds, there's just no way I'm going to be averaging into it. You don't average into something which isn't giving you some kind of a catalyst to it. I can tell you Coinbase, I mean, here, it's making some, let's load up here. It's making some move to the upside. There we go. Yeah, so now it's testing that 320. So, I mean, it is what it is. It hasn't actually broken it yet. I'm still waiting to see if it can, the first dip. I want to buy on the first dip that it makes. 320 is the level there. Tesla, the other one that we're watching here, this has already started its dip. Well, it had started a second ago when it started its dip. I was already bidding in front of this consolidation area at 712. I'm looking for a 720 break or the dip, whichever one happens to come first. Both of those would be buys. There'll be no pink shorts for me on Tesla. I never say never because you never know what it lies for the rest of the session. But there's no pink shorts for me, guys. I'm not going to step in front of this train. It's looking like we're going to try to go green or hold green in the NASDAQ, and Tesla's trying to do the same. That's through 719. I'm waiting for 720 on the breakout.
Yeah, I'm just upset about this Coinbase trade because we had that trade, man. And it's just like, damn it. Sometimes we'll have that happen to us, and that's fine. Okay, let's check in some of these marijuana names today as, I don't know, yesterday off 420. I'm just looking at my chart here to find ones that, okay, it's nice to see CGC. We had Greg on this morning, the floor manager. And, okay, there it is. Come on, NQ. Used to be NY, CGC. But, okay, nice move today to the upside, man. So that's a good one. Battling back from what was yesterday's basic, I don't know if it was a destruction or not, but this goes from 27 down to 25. So you get a 10% move on 420. And then today, at least you're making back half. So if you took that yesterday, you're getting back a little bit today. High side 2680. If we make this a 3-minute chart, you can see what we're talking about here. Yeah, that little bottom there. So that 2680 might have been the top right there. So have a look if you're trading CGC today. See what you want to do to this number right there. 2697, sorry, 2679, 2680, a good spot for CGC there. But yeah, yesterday, not a good one for anybody that was long. Now, we talked about that with Greg. We talked about that yesterday. Coming up, though, oops, wrong one. Let's do this one. The show, right? The show is number one. Yeah, 3:15, guys. We're back and we're live. So you thought that this morning, although there wasn't much happening, I think it was pretty fun, man. We had a bunch of different opportunities there. My missed opportunities, you saw those. And then you did see Coinbase as well today. But join us again, guys. 3:15, we're going to do the close. It's the fastest 45 minutes on YouTube. So join us there for the close. Should be a fun one. I'm excited always to trade, and I hope you guys are. So join us back there in just a couple hours. We'll eat, we'll talk, we'll build some more trade ideas, and then we'll get right back to you at 3:15. I
find myself all short now. So the Fisker trade, they broke that 1330 area here. I did that last little dip buy. The first one we took off of VWAP here. It gave you like that 58. It then gave me 66s. But you know, once it breaks to 30, it's the kind of thing saying to myself, if we're headed back down, I saw multiple names at highs, like 320 on Coinbase, 720 on Tesla, that turning around off 41.45 on the ES, the NASDAQ rolling back down 13.8. So there was enough things sort of aligning itself that I say to myself, why not wait for a defensive 13? I'll get back in if it makes a dip down to that price. So just have some small caps to the short side, and I'm essentially waiting for Coinbase and Tesla to do something, if anything. I'm kicking myself over Pinterest because as it loads up, You know, this is one. There was that news this morning. I was looking for a spot to go long. Of course, I missed out on it. It hasn't given any kind of a dip buy. It's also stalling out. No high of the day break. It does not go. It's trying to come back in here. And I don't want to be short this name today, but it does feel like as so many things are starting to roll over and the market can't quite make that secondary push, let's not, and never forget, or you should try not to forget, this is Pinterest off the double top at 90, sort of basing out. It's trying to catch its breath after a multi-day fall. It couldn't break back above this 73 level that we're talking about here. So if it tries to roll over, there is a decent chance it could test back into that 71. So, you know, all that being said, you don't trade your own book. I'm going to see if I can't pick up a little bit of a short off the high of the day in Pinterest. Just momentum back into at least VWAP if we can get it here. I'm not going to chase it too far down. You know, if I can get something in that like 25 to 50 range, that'll be okay. But again, not chasing, not chasing, not chasing, not at this time. Just got 24s, 72.24 in Pinterest. I missed my long shot on Pinterest. If it rolls over, I'll take some out in front of VWAP. Let's see if it can't get down to like that 71.25 where it was a breakout at 9.45. So I found myself all short. The breakouts I thought were coming. Tesla resisted, Coinbase resisted. I'll buy dips on those only.
Yeah, that Coinbase is still making me sick, but doesn't matter. Let's just move on. I said that, I mean, again, a good call there. Someone was mentioning that Palantir is now coming back down. We knew there was going to be a move down. I mean, this is only 20 cents compared to the dollar that it moved upside. But, Palantir doesn't have the staying power these days. I mean, there's been a lot of days where Palantir has gone up, and then just faded right back in. I like to use, 20-minute here. You could see, like, here's the move up, here's it coming back down. Since then, nice move. That one doesn't really happen. But there's been many, many days where Palantir's had big runs like this day back into noon and then faded back out the afternoon. The same thing here and out. Big run up and faded back down here as well. Up and then back down. So I do expect to see something. I don't know if we get back to 21. Like, shit. Yeah, I mean, again, we don't have a lot of these trades on that we should have on, man. Like, we should have defended that 2250. And again, man, we talked about the 2250. If you break that out into this 20-minute chart here, you can see this 2250 area right here. That was the 200 period moving average. So, we did have an opportunity to take that short, and we didn't. A little gun shy just because we were burned on the short before. So that's on me. But again, I don't feel we missed the trade. Just should have been short there. We're not going to have them all, that's for sure. But NEO, again, kind of similar. Remember, I'm on a 3-minute chart now, as we only have, it's getting later on in the day, so we can look at some more key levels with the 3-minute. Back to 36.90, 37 is a good level here for NIOs. I'm just watching my positions. CCL, that ATHE, Neil just talked about that, not doing anything, so I don't have too much expectations for that one. But NEO right now, this is what the 3-minute looks like. You did have a high side there today of almost $38, and then low down to 36. Like I said, that's a big move there. Then you get some consolidation, make that move to the upside. More, like, I didn't even notice this. This is not today. This is today, but this is a 3-minute chart. But you did have the move up and then back down. And then today, what I'm trying to get at, the same kind of move, and then consolidation to the upside. So we'll have to wait to see, but NEO right now not moving much. We got to find some names, guys. Drop them in the chat if there's anything you want us to look at, because right now I'm kind of stuck.
I mean, Ms. V was playing music next to me a second ago. I was like dancing up. I don't know what you were playing there, but puts a little pep in the step there. Probably a Justin Bieber video or something just to get us excited. Or, what? He's a great musician. I shouldn't, whatever. I'm not a big Bieber fan, but he's a great Canadian. Brennan.
Just reading about JetBlue and AAL. There's also Tiptree Incorporated, earnings name, guys. This one's from the insurance group, up huge today, 25%. Insurance company just broke $14 there. Volume coming in to this name, probably exiting the rest of the market apparently, but TIPT, big mover, guys.
Okay, so maybe that's a name that we can look at
I'll
there.
call it
TIPT, okay, that's a good one. Let's look at that. TIPT, I assume it's going to be on the NASDAQ. Oh, wow, $14, big move up, 1.58 million shares from 11 low to 14.24 high. Let's go, chart, let's go. This one might need a 1-minute chart. Yeah, wow, straight upside, guys, all morning. But there it is. There's that top. What does that look like on a daily? It's already, yeah, so this already broke out there from that $10 level straight up today. Nothing else upside. So 14. I like to play these names. Like, you can go short now. It's kind of giving you that short. Let's see what it looks like on a minute chart. Did that just come in? Or, yeah, so it just came in. So you already have that high, man. 14.25, no surprise there. This is probably worth a short. We'll see if we have shortable shares. I want to take it right now and give it to 14.25. Let's give this one a name. Let's give this one a go.
Yeah, that's the question. Do we have shortable shares? Tesla just trying to break through that 720. You said insurance, and I'm like,
No.
I just had a look to see Lemonade. It made its move. I'm kicking myself because once it entered in the 70s, I was kind of like, you got to have bids down if you want to pick up a company, and too far to the downside. So I'll have to reassess that and figure out how I can get back into that name if there is going to be a bit of a bounce in the space. I said Tesla broke 720. Finally, I'm looking at Coinbase. No, I haven't got a break yet on that one, but 720. Try to come. You get that initial push, and again, right into that like 21. It doesn't go right away. Well, usually what I try to do with that is get a little bit out, just because if it doesn't go right away, like if it's not running stops and absolutely sort of like breaking people, which it didn't do here, let's be honest about it, I'm just going to take a little bit off here, essentially shorten the position up. I do want to still have the long, which is why I don't want to get out of all of it, because if we can break through this range, there's still another push that we have into the 30s, into the 35s, but if it's not going to go right away, I want to have room that I can buy a dip. So a breakout trade is always, it's either time-based or initial push range, and it does not go like $2 or $3 right away. It does not run those stops. I give it a little bit on that little on that break to see if it can't go, but I'm not going to get too stubborn with it. We trimmed the position to half. I did get a decent price. It only slipped me to 720.31, so not a bad execution. I'll hold these to like 25s or so to see if it can go, but I also, as it goes in the money now, of course, I trimmed some. Just noting Coinbase, which is a similar look that I wanted to have here. And I'll put the 15-minute up. It does not break through the high. So I was looking to see if these could go at the same time. Tesla has not in Coinbase. And of course, that might mean when I got into Pinterest, sort of against my, well, not against my sort of, I mean, against myself, if you talk about overall position. It tried to get down through 72. It's now coming back and consolidating. So not a lot of strength here, but I have to watch this one. I don't want to give it back to the high of the day. I'm looking at this lower high that it put in around like 65, 66. That'll be my out over in Pinterest, but it's not really doing a heck of a lot. I don't want to have a hard stop, more of a manual one. I'll put it up in my level 2. It's not necessarily volatile enough in the top end of this range that I'm worried, but with Tesla trying to break the high, the market trying to break the highs, I do have to at least be concerned that this one short trade in an actual bigger cap stock could be in trouble if this move continues. Got Tesla, no Coinbase yet.
Yeah, 11:04. Yeah, just looking at the time right now, seeing what we're going to play to the downside now. I think the NASDAQ may have just seen a top there, 13,820 maybe. Now we're starting to fade back in. You can see the move downside. We did not have shortable shares. I don't have enough time to get any right now, so whatever. We'll just move on. But I do think this TIPT right now could make that move. And if you do have it, man, I mean, 14.25, pretty easy out to try to make like, I don't know, down here, 1250. You know, that could be a good play. Okay, CCL, back over to the U. We'll see what you want to do. We'll have to refresh the chart here. We just took a short 80. Our out's going to be 90. It goes to 87. So here we go. Maybe we might have a short on here that might work. 72.70 right now. So that's good. Yeah, we will see what that Tesla trade has. Neil has that on board. Why not check out GameStop here? That's always seems to be moving. So 160 now. And yeah, it seems to be moving every day except for right now. Nice move off the open for anyone long GameStop, and then back in. We know that, what's his name, Hello Kitty or something? That guy exercised some options and turned it around. What up, Beep?
He's rich.
Roaring Kitty is his name, yes. There was an IPO today. Double Verified just opened. I got to show you this chart because ours are not working, but opened at 35 straight to 34, guys. So still, apparently not the right time to be coming to market. Double Verified, though, DV in New York.
That's a badass name right there, Double Verify. Why not? Tesla's trying to go here, look, and again, if I have a trade that's like that's a breakout trade, I'm kind of always going to do that. Take some out right away. You saw it with Coinbase. You just save yourself some money when it's that particular style. Breaks haven't been the best, so I've been sort of trimming them when they don't go right away. Now it's a couple of bucks in the money. If it gets to that 45, I'm going to try and rinse and repeat, like take a couple, maybe like $3 or $4 out of it in front of that level. But I'm now watching Microvision, Microvision here. You guys brought to my attention. I actually hadn't seen this one, so thank you guys. This is kind of why I say it, and Sean says this all the time, and it's a good point. Like the reason sharing is really important is on days where the market isn't moving. Now today we're getting some movement. We're gonna miss symbols. It's gonna happen. Like we'll have our watch list. We'll have the things that I've written down on the iPad that I'm gonna be watching. Microvision had come off my list last little bit here, but now I actually see Thank you, daily chart. But now I actually see it pressing back to the upside. Look, it failed shy of that last little push here that we did see yesterday's action at 12.15. I kind of expected it to be done after this, but lo and behold, here we are pressing right into that range. It's a higher low put in. If it tries to come back halfway, look, it's a short for me when it does this. It never tested through that high. If it had broken that 12.15, maybe a different story, but it failed shy of it. That means short if it pops back into the 65 to 75 range. I mean, I don't know if I can look at this particular time. Tesla seeming like it's having a little bit of trouble getting through that 723.50. I'm going to take it off, take the 350, and then look for a dip that I can buy here. So yes, I'm going to flat some of the trade. Yes, I should have held it. I do think as it started slowing down in the tape that I want to play a bit of a dip buy because the market, and I'm talking about the ES, not the NASDAQ, just sort of tipped back off its high of the day. That kind of told me that maybe I'm not going to get the extra dollar out of Tesla. Maybe I'm going to wait for a dip back in. Could it be 720? Maybe. I'd love to catch 715s. That was a level from earlier in the week. Was resistant. Let's see if it can't be a little bit of support down at 713. I'd like to buy dips in Tesla after that little breakout. Was a solid success, but I didn't have the entire load. Didn't go right away. That's why I had to trim some.
Yeah, that's a great. I think that's a great trade. I mean, we're in scalping zone right now, anyways. And I should have just took some off on CCL. Again, we did have about a 7 or 8 cent winner. We didn't take it. That's probably similar to that because Tesla's 5 times the price, well, more than that, 10 times. What am I talking about? Infinitely more the price than this. So I think Neil turning into scalp mode there on Tesla was fine. I mean, that's probably the right move for sure. We do have some bids down here, like 62, 63. But if I'm really scalping, then I'd be taking some profits a little earlier than that. Let's just see if it does fade out. Oh, by the way, it's snowing here in Toronto. What's up, Brendan?
In April. So there's that. YSG, Yatsen Holding Limited, little Chinese cosmetic maker, I just noticed ripping here as well, 15.8%. Just took out day highs there, 1150, bit of a level to look at once we get into the daily time frame here. But they've filed their full year report aftermarket yesterday. Looks like it was positive. Yatsen Holding, YSG, guys.
So that's just got on my list here for sure.
Hydration Nation, by the way, just making a PSA right now. Make sure that you stay hydrated, guys. We've already downed our vitamins here today, so we're Hydration Nation, Vitamin Nation. So stay hydrated. My voice is going a little bit already, so that's why we dump off some of that water. Someone said check out XL Fleet. Look, you guys know I bought this name and wasn't able to get out. So I bought this name. Is it a NASDAQ? Yeah, for some reason I thought it was a New York name, so good on me for at least thinking that. We went long at 873 a couple days ago on this day. No, it went to 10 and change. So, oh yeah, that is that day, 1075. Yeah, so right here, we went long. Can you believe that? We went long here in the pre-market at 870 or 8. Maybe it was 850. I think it was 870, but maybe 850. And then it ripped up to 1070. Yeah, so I think it's 850 up to 1070 there in one day. That was 20%, and that was probably in about an hour. But like I say to you, can't trade these positions on the show. So again, because we're just showing you the trades that we're making here, wasn't able to get out, nor do I think I would have, to be honest with you. I still think there's a higher side here, but wow, XL Fleet, maybe if I believe in this name, it's time to rebuy. I'm going to do a little bit more work on this one. Maybe this is a good bottom for XL Fleet, but again, look at these names. You could see Nikola, Plug, we saw that yesterday. That short actually came in yesterday. Short through, I think it was 25.85 or 24.85. That came in yesterday. My guess is today that Plug Power bouncing back. That's a NASDAQ. Yeah, 25.65. Yesterday we wrote down some key levels. Let's go. Come on. Oh my God. I don't know. We had NASDAQ. Okay, now my chart's going to change. There you go, downside. Yesterday it did come in. We saw some negative moves. Yeah, yesterday that 24.85 came in, and it only went down to 24.50. You actually had that today. Was that the real low today? 23. Yeah, look at that off open, guys. Big time flush. So down to 23. You know what? I'm gonna step out on a limb here a little bit here. This is a strong day for these EV names. I'm going to find out why. I'm not really sure. Maybe enough.
I think it's a growth thing.
Yeah, maybe enough is enough.
Yeah, I looked at what QuantScape has the same chart. I looked at Lemonade and said to myself, why didn't I have a more aggressive bid on it? Because if you're looking for that last little ditch completely, every one of these growth things has the same chart. It flushed off the open, some deeper than others, and Lemonade only went $2. So I mean, if it had gone further, I probably would have picked some up there. I got to double check. But you start to think about whether it's your QuantScapes, whether it's your XL fleets, and then this roaring recovery that's come back into a lot of these names. I just think it's almost across the board. It's the next leg that just hasn't happened yet. Like if you talk about, and again with QuantScape here, come on chart. It's that sort of next stage, and it hasn't really happened. There's been a couple of pullbacks. That's why I'm short in Pinterest here, thinking that's going to be it. QuantScape not getting to that yesterday price level at 34, but it does give that flush. It does hold the bottom. It's a double bottom. Maybe it's a bit of a, I guess, relief rally for some of the growth names happening, but it's that next push, which is yet to happen. Tesla, no pullback. Maybe I should have held on for 725. That can always be another breakout, I suppose. And Coinbase, it just broke 320, so I did get that long. Brendan?
Yeah, some people still talking about this ARB over in London, ARKBF here on the OTC markets. There was a interesting story on this today. They announced plans for a new mining facility in West Texas. So this is a London-listed blockchain miner called Argo Blockchain. So they're coming to West Texas, guys. I was trying to find the symbol. I don't think it's in our system in London, but you can also look at that ARKBF. Guys.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, we'll find the system and we'll have a look at that. Thank you for the name again there, Brendo. Okay.
I got a key for this one. I got to hit it because it's a Bitcoin one. It's Coinbase. We borrow some money. Did you take the Coinbase trade?
No. I have CCL, but go ahead on Coinbase.
No, I was going to say Coinbase just broke that 320. Just like Tesla, if it's a breakout trade, I'm always going to scalp out at that first little resistance, and it was $1 in the money. So I take that for the quick little scalp. Every single time I do a breakout, that's how it's going to be. Now I'm looking to see if we can't hold it. It's that capitulation flush and then a final break of this area. Maybe we can get to pre-market highs 25s. I mean, next level up. I don't even like 330. Remember 338? I'd love to see that come into play. I want to be able to dig in and hold something, but you look at that pre-market high 25s and got to be able to scalp it. At this time of day, I don't know that you're going to get that rapid push, but a winner is a winner, as we like to say around here. No one ever got broke taking profit. I'll look for $3 or $4 and then a 25 break.
Yeah, I mean, I called that 314 break, but we already got stopped out, and I didn't really look back at it, so damn it on that one. Okay, we did it, man. We talked about changing up our game. That's why we did that little money call there on the backside, but we'll just go daps up because Neil started scalping, and I changed my play as well into Scalp City there. So we actually got a 59 and a 63. You see where the short is 76, 77. So we're going to take some profits there. I do have bids down here in the 50s, hoping that was going to come through. Look at these futures, man. Like, no wonder that this market right today, very, very excitable to the upside today, it seems like. Now NASDAQ turns positive. We weren't really thinking that early on. I mean, that's why we shorted some of the names that we did, but we're still fine, man. Like, this is a completely fine day for me here today. We've had some good winners and some losers, but overall today, we'll just wait to see what CCL does. We've had Fisker. We talked about that. This is my most profitable stock, I think, today, anyways, as I look on the list. But you know, this was bad, but it wasn't huge because again, we don't take breakouts with huge shares in the pre-market. Then it falls down. Then it falls down again, and we talked about it right here. And I mean, and this is what we often get people to say, like, you know, what are you taking? And why, right? And so I wrote down why there. I said, we're going to buy Fisker through 13, hold it through 12.50. So that's the play, right? And so it comes back down into 13. Thank you, Daryl, for that. Yeah, I mean, that's CCL. Happy to take the profit. Now 17 cents in the money. 13 here, backside. Now you get to move up. So again, like Fisker, very, very, that's not a short. I had some more offers up here. That's why it looks like a short. But then they fill, and now we come back in, and Fisker just kind of baselining right now. 13.25, probably a decent long there. We'll get out of the rest of them. We're only holding 5%, so it's nothing. That's why we're chilling. But 13.25 break, we gone on Fisker.
So I see you, Scott Lowe. Yeah, Sundial popped. It popped off VWAP. I said I wouldn't chase it. This is where I wanted to short it the first time. It just came back again. This is a time of day on Sundial where I always sort of have to watch out because when you get into a short, at this particular time. You have to have a tight stop. I've sort of gotten caught a couple times where, like if I've been heavily trading in the pre-market, which I haven't even traded today in the morning, and I'll be up on it and then just give a lot back. Or one time I gave everything back on a fantastic day, shorting into lunch when it made a pop. I like this a little bit differently because usually that's when I'm shorting below the lows when it's testing back to the open price. I'm shorting off an obvious high here in front of like 90, so I kind of know where my stop is going to be. I kind of know my first take profit is going to be VWAP, and then I can hold through an 86 break. So the structure is on this one. It's easy to be disciplined. Brendan?
I was mentioning during Sector Watch, we were talking about semiconductors being very strong. This one leading still, guys, 2.7%. Day highs here, 81.41 for AMD. The rest, however, NVIDIA not really doing much. Intel as well, not really doing much. But AMD, a lot of relative strength, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I love AMD. AMD is one of those calls that we have as well for you guys. Loving AMD. I love everything about AMD. I think it's like sort of the forgotten about chip maker. I mean, it's not forgotten anymore. It's huge, but we've been riding that train for a very, very long time. AMD. I mean, it's not even too long. My first buy was at 50 there, and I'm obviously an NVIDIA shareholder as well. But AMD, if you saw, I just love the way AMD bases out. Hopefully this goes back. There it is. So yeah. So again. It's only back to 2019, where I first got into AMD when I noticed this happening. Very, very lucky on this explosion, but that was a nice base again. And then it's basing out here at 75, where Brendan and I recently just made a few purchases down here, 75, 76, 77, like in and around this area. I love AMD, and I think it's just a strong name and needs to be bought. In my opinion, if it gets back down here again, you just buy it and hold it. If you're in the right space, like, I mean, where is technology going? I mean, you got to be part of these big companies, and AMD is one that I like. So I'm a fan of AMD here on the 1 minute chart. You're seeing it make moves today. Look at the NASDAQ, man, and AMD. So again, if you could put your money anywhere right now, I like AMD for the long run, and I continue to make that call every day, even on dips. Here comes CCL. Hopefully we retest 50 here, as it looks like it's starting to sort of baseline high at 65. We'll see if it can make a move back down. I'm bidding 53, I believe. Yeah, 55 and then 51. So we spread them out a little bit. Let's see if we can get some nice love here. 25-cent winner for CCL.
I see you, Daryl, talking to that little CCIV there. We'll have a look in a quick second. Along those lines in tech, I mean, one of the names I kind of brought up, it wasn't on our watch list, but when we started talking about tech, I said Oracle. On this, at this particular point in the market, I was sort of saying if you have this one and it's been in the money for you, it's a good place to take some profit. And again, you guys do whatever you want with your entire book, but I saw that round out. I didn't see it as a buying opportunity. I saw it as a place that you should be taking profit. It's off and heading to the downside. So we're down 3%. If this does extend down into like this previous high, 73, 74, get some like consolidation, that might be a place to get some shares back in. But again, you look at both ends of the coin. When you're looking to raise money, you take some positions off that might be in the money for you there. That just happens to be one. Sundial is holding up here, but didn't exactly flush when it came in. It came when I got those shares in at 88, so I do have to be careful from that. It is showing some strength today. Oddly enough, it got sold off on 420, and they seem to be buying it back. So I don't know if it's like bizarro day today. Coinbase, daily chart doesn't really matter. Gave that initial break. I tried to get shares out if it would come to that 324. And again, this is just that pre-market high. Did not happen. I'm going to give the rest of these shares back to like a 318 if I'm trying to make $4 on all risk 2. I got the scalp trade on the rest of it there. Maybe this is going to be that like rest of the day rally that we've had in some of these names that flushed out off the open. I'd rather test that theory by getting out for a $2 loss in the second half of the trade and then getting back in if it retests some of yesterday's lows down around that 312 area. That 310 could be like that original floor on Coinbase on the first day. I mean, if that's a fake flush out bottom, that could be your hella support there one more time. So I'd love to be able to defend that price. I mean, I'd prefer if it didn't go there in the first place and just kind of rallies from here, but beggars can't be choosers. If it's going to come down, I'll give this now $2 and then see if it can't get a better price on a bit of a further dip there. It's scalp mode for me because it's lunchtime, and you got to stick to those rules once you switch that gear.
So we did this yesterday, or was it a couple days ago, Valeria, get your mic ready to go because you need to ask people for likes. And they'd rather look at your face than mine, which makes sense. We do have over we did have just a couple seconds ago, 5,000 or so people watching, guys, and only 1.4K likes. There it is. We take out some CCL as well for a profit right now. If we can get that to 2,000 before the end of the show, there's only 8 minutes, Valeria. So let them have it a little bit.
Guys, it would be perfect if we get 2,000 before the close of the show, of the end of the show. Yeah, I'm so nervous because, guys, we haven't got 2,000 likes for so long. We so need your support. And, guys, it takes just 1 second for you to click the like button and means everything for us and motivate us to work better. So please support. I don't speak English no more. Back to traders.
That's okay. You should have gone into some Russian there, but hey, it worked, man. Right there, we get 20% more. So we'll go chicken dinner winner. Thank you guys. We love you as a fan base, and we wouldn't be here without you guys. We just hit 200,000 subs. There we go, Valeria. We're going to get to that 2K in just a matter of time. And look, the show's free. If you didn't win today, that's fine. I'm sorry. We're about education. We're here for you. We're back every single day at 3:15. It's going to be Arun, myself, and Brendan. So, hey, we're back. If you can hit the like on that show as well, that's fantastic. Hit the subscribe button as well so you get those updates when we're back live. Who knows when we're back live? We may just turn the switch on and come back at any time. So hit that like, hit the subscribe, and definitely, if you can, hit that share. There you go, Valeria. Bang on the 2K. So we kicked the horses right there. There you go, Valeria. You're still employed. What's up, Brendan?
It's Churchill Capital here. Some people talking about CCIV on the short interest. We'll wait for V to finish her 2,000 dance, and then we'll have a look at a chart here. This is the Icon platform. Just wanted to show you this real quick. This is their short chart. So this is the float up here, increasing or percent. This is the price decreasing. So oftentimes you'll see them going in opposite directions. Focus your attention over here. 15.8 on the short interest percent, guys, for this one, Churchill Capital.
And if you want another reason to like, it's as simple as we see a couple of people talking about it. It's like, Brendan, hey, can you get us that short interest? We've got the tools here. The Icon platform is very, very similar to like a Bloomberg terminal. So we have those tools available to us, and we're able to get that information out to you guys. So nobody wants to trade blind. That's the idea about a community here. So, take that information at your will. Churchill's been very, very strong. Is it squeezing up today? I think there's a certain element of that. Certainly, I don't know that it's like a full-blown, it's not a full-blown GameStop. You are seeing this chart formation on a lot of symbols today, guys. We had the flush out at the open, and then you're breaking through the highs. Not all have broken through that high, and of course, Coinbase has not necessarily continued. Gave that scalp trade. It's still holding 320. I'd love to see it make a move like this, like a secondary push. That would be pushing into 330 on Coinbase, but Churchill, it's getting up to some of these prices where it had hard rejections, and I'm kind of talking about 1915 to 1970. So those longs, no one ever went broke taking some profit. Yes, it's a strong move. I don't know if it's a full-blown squeeze, though.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. Good move there. We did get out of some CCL there again, guys. 55s. So we got some 56, 50. What is that? 58, and then again to 56. It dropped down to 58 again. So wondering if that's maybe the spot, and we're going to be a scalper. That's what we got to do. Look at this move. I want to talk about Palantir quickly again as well. It did make that fade move, but look where it stopped. Right at the breaking spot of 25. So Palantir, we're going to look at that in the after show as the NASDAQ now making new highs again on the day, I think. Anyways, yeah, new highs big time. We took out that 13,820, and now you're going to see a big move to the high side again. So that should be exciting. It's going to lead up to a very, very good close, I hope. And we're going to be here for that as well. So join us on that close time. And again, guys, thank you so much. That worked great. Now 2.1K. So thank you so much for that support. We're trying to tell YouTube that we have the best audience and the best fans out there. So the more likes we get, the better that is for us. And again, we're doing the show for free, so we appreciate everything that comes our way from you guys. So again, thank you so much for that one. Okay, Palantir, here comes the downside. No surprise there. I am going to switch my orders, put them at 58. We still have some 51s, but it's just bounced off too many times, and we're going to turn into scalp mode right now. So even some 60s will take it off. We're short 77 here, guys. So let's not get too greedy as the market goes up. Let's take some profits on these shorts.
Yeah, and I see just last one here, UAL. Yeah, obviously it was an interesting stock to the south side. Another strong one here today. It's back above that 50 level. It did base out. And I see you guys talking about it here, and I know we're not trying to ignore any symbol. It's just that you can't cover everything. I've traded about a dozen symbols today, which is a lot, and I'm only long in Coinbase. It was kind of odd here. Got to find a little something else for the afternoon. This was the sort of the level I want us to hold above on UAL. If you want to show any kind of a chance to get back up to like the 50 period, it's got to hold this previous high back at like 51.40. So that hasn't happened just yet. I think there's a decent chance that this market can make the next move. UAL looks like it's going to be a rollover play, at least in the VWAP and maybe even deeper than that.
Yeah, and CCL exactly rolling over as well. So a good trade there. I don't know what kind of day it is or what kind of earnings we have today, but Brendan is ready. What
There's
up,
a
Brendan?
few.
Right. This looks a little bit more like a normal earnings season type of board, guys. Lots of names on here, but nothing too terribly exciting anyways. Some in the travel group for tomorrow.
Yeah, Southwest certainly is one you're going to watch. Look, it's a little bit overwhelming there with a number of names. Watch out because you got DR Horton and Lamb. Now, Lamb is an interesting name in the tech space. Mark Roberts, who wasn't able to be with us today, is a big fan of that company, solid company as well. And then I see Biogen there as well. I mean, it might not be anything too sexy. I kind of think the momentum names might be the more interesting ones today. Only the airlines are sticking out for me, if only because we saw what happened with UAL. So you got to be watching Southwest. I actually just got short in UAL myself. Well, for the day trade here at 51.03. But yeah, got to watch out for Southwest.
And guys, who remembers? First of all, now CCL 25 cents in the money. So hell yeah, man. We've been bearish and bullish today on a lot of different names. So there we go. We continue to ride the bear today. I mean, and let's give a hell yeah to the call for IBM, guys. Like IBM earnings, we were down here when I made the call 132. I said you could pick up options for this one, whether or not you picked up weekly or whatever. You're in the money a hell of a lot of percentage points right now as IBM takes out the top again. I talked about old tech turning new tech. There's the play on IBM, man. You guys know I'm long 118, but wow, a big mover in IBM. Congratulations. I'll make some calls in the afternoon show for some of those earnings, guys. I know that's what you want. Brendan, again, what's up?
Yeah, just real quick, guys, wanted to clarify. Some people asking about Intel. Yeah, Intel is tomorrow, but it's aftermarket, right? So what we just showed you is either aftermarket tonight or before the market opens tomorrow. So Intel will be on tomorrow's board, guys.
Yes, actionable trades for tomorrow. Like obviously, people are going to be watching Intel because it has those earnings. So it's more about like where the actual volatility is going to be before tomorrow's session. Before we get out of here, I was squinting so I could see what day it was. I didn't give a bad look. I absolutely love what national day it is here today because yeah, I'll gobble these ones up, Miss V.
Hey guys, I'm back. Thank you very much for sharing this morning with us. Thank you for 2.1K likes. We appreciate it very, very much, and we love you all. And guys, we'll see you at 3:15 p.m. Eastern Time, and happy National Chocolate Covered Cashew Day, everyone.
Cashews are just delicious in general. You add chocolate to the story, and we're all going to nod our heads in agreement. And I kind of feel like we've got something sweet tooth-wise that even Brendan likes.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, chocolate-covered almonds.
How can he not?
Of course he does.
Of course. Of course. Not even a question. Again, though, I'll throw this out there. Frozen.
You know what I like? You know what I like, actually? Now we're talking about frozen. Frozen blueberries are actually...
Yeah, fruit.
Not nuts.
That too.
They're already
Frozen cashews, Brendan.
Try it.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, if Brendan says to try it,
Yeah,
you know,
That's the funny thing. The crazy thing is, I am going to try it because Brendan said so, because he's usually right about just about everything. But
So
I'm
my
kind
call
of.
is they're going to taste like cashews, but frozen. I mean,
Right.
I'm going to go out on a limb now. So I think if you like it, Neil, you'll like this.
Dangerous.
Yeah, I
dangerous
probably
call.
will, and
Big
I am
call.
going to try them there. Look, it's been a fantastic show as always. I can't be there tonight, but make sure you tune in for the fastest 45 minutes, as Sean likes to say. The whole team will be right back to trade that close. Based on what we've seen this morning, I think it's going to be exciting. For Ms. V, it's a new shirt maybe, looking good. And for my man Sean Katina, thanks for the apple fritter this morning. I enjoyed it very much so. And for Brendan Wickens, I'm Neil Roberts. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Trader TV Live. See you this afternoon.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.